What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Very Vehicular. I'm your host, Betim and Scotto, and today we actually set out to answer a question. That's right, we're going to stay focused today. And the question is, are Porsches still cool, and does it even matter? To discuss and debate this today, I've got my good buddy, Vin Anatra, who just recently sold his 997 GT3 RS, and I also have Betim Berisha, who runs BBi Autosport, world-renowned for building really fast 911s. So whether you love 911s, whether you hate 911s, whether you think the whole 911 thing is over, listen to the three of us wax poetic on why the cars mean something special to us and sort of why the hype came about and why we think the hype is really valid. And disagree with us, because that's the kind of stuff we want to hear. Enjoy the episode. What's up, boys?
Hey.
All right, so today we're going to do something we've never done before on this podcast.
Keep it simple.
No, we're going to keep it focused. We have a single topic. You guys both know what it is. And the topic is Porsches are more than just cool. They're fucking great cars.
Yeah, I love it.
And the conversation being that we are at probably, I don't know, are we at peak cool or maybe we passed peak cool? But it's now to the point where you're starting to hear people hate on Porsches because they're too cool. But like that's not what the cars are about.
Yeah, I mean, I personally think we might have crowned the peak cool, you know, for like out there, but that's not what's important.
But before we get there, because I want to hear it, you had a pretty crazy day the other day.
Oh yeah,
You spun Project Evo at 130 miles an hour.
it was actually a little more than that, I think. Yeah,
It's a little story time to start.
so we were at Apex out in Arizona in Mesa.
By the way, before you get into it, for people who don't know, just briefly explain what Project Evo is.
Project Evo is a 993 based crazy maniac machine that we built. Jeff Sword actually drove it at Pikes Peak. We put it in some street livery now, and we're still continuing to test and gather data with it. So we're at the track. It's a paddle shifted 3.8 liter air cooled engine, so sequential gearbox, still air cooled,
twin turbo.
Yeah, twin big old set of Garretts on it. And it makes every bit of 840 horsepower.
What does it weigh?
2,600. I'll just say 2,600.
800 horsepower.
Have you been in it?
2,600 pounds. No.
It's scary fast.
Oh, you haven't? No, that was not.
That was when it was on the 700 tune.
Yeah, that was 635.
635.
Yeah. Yeah, and
that's even scarier now.
Yeah, because the turbos are still asleep. Wastegates are just doing everything they can to keep boost down. But I was running at 1.2 bar, which is 740 all day, and that's I think the sweet spot. It's just the entire time, anything below third gears, you're just looking for grip, and TC is just.
You could literally hear the traction control crying. Like you could hear the clicking in the Bosch machine, just going like, no.
It starts smoking. Yeah. No, Sander did a good job on TC, so it's manageable, but it's just, Sander's got a running joke now that he's like, man, the data shows there's like, it can make a whole shitload more power. Everything's just fine. And every time he asks the driver, do you want more power? They're like, I don't think so. No, it's okay. It's okay.
Where normally drivers are like, I could always use more.
And then finally Sander went out and drove it. He goes, I get it now. Okay, nope, doesn't need more power. So it's,
Yeah, because even if you could get it to hook up, because traction controls are so sophisticated now, that amount of power to weight means once you're in fourth, fifth gear on track, like you are fucking hauling.
Yeah, fourth and fifth, TC's back off and you're just getting all of the power.
Yeah, that's a tremendous amount of speed.
Yeah.
It's been a brutal winter for most of the country. Fortunately for me, I live in California. It hit 80 the other day. Perfect timing to bust out my new Vyper Industrial fan. That's right. These guys make great stools, amazing creepers, and fantastic tool carts. But they also make really, really good fans. Assembly was simple. It comes with legs or can be wall mounted. It moves an incredible amount of air. It's got a variable speed control, so you can dial in the perfect RPM for your fan if that's something you so desire. If you're looking for a soothing, therapeutic white noise machine for the garage, try out the natural wind function. Anyway, go get yourself one at vyperindustrial.com. That's Vyper with a Y. Be honest, we all do it. You fire up an incognito tab and you hit up the configurator page of your favorite automaker to build out that dream spec you're never gonna buy. Good news, Heatwave Visual also offers an online customizer. A little bit easier on the pocketbook than a paint-to-sample GT3 RS. First, you choose your frame style, and then you pick out the colors, the lenses. Do you want them polarized? And on top of that, they have over 40 different arm designs to choose from, even down to the emblem. Look, I'm not saying they don't have great off-the-shelf sunglasses. They do. But if you're like me and you've got that itch to mod everything, head on over to heatwavevisual.com. 20 years back, I stumbled on this really unique tool. It'd be a disservice to call it simply a ratchet. It's got a self-adjusting head. You can use it like a screwdriver. But if you have ADHD like me, it also makes for a great fidget spinner. It's called the Zyklop, made by Wera Tools. If you haven't heard of them, they make premium tools that are highly over-engineered. Hardly surprising, they're German. But it's not just the quality and the engineering, it's the evolution. I mean, these guys actually reinvented the wrench. We connected after they saw me working on my Audi with their tools, and I'm stoked to welcome them as the newest partner on the pod. Once again, I only work with brands whose stuff I actually use. So check them out, weratools.com, and I apologize now because you're likely going to empty your bank account there.
Yeah.
So anyway, back to the regularly programmed off. 140 miles an hour backwards at thermal?
Fourth, no, we're at Apex, and there's this big right-hander complex that goes in. It's actually kind of cool. It tightens up at Apex, and then it opens up into a brake zone, so you can actually get through there, woe the car down a little bit, and then get back to throttle. Ideally, your fifth gear, you get it thing moved out down into fourth, and then you start squeezing throttle right off Apex. If the track wasn't there, you'd be smoked. But yeah, anyways, I went into had a good run out of 2 or 3, and into fifth gear, deep into fifth gear. I'm like, should I pull sixth? I'm like, nah. I started to turn in. I'm like, what? In my head, right when I started to turn, I was like, why do I think I can go through this corner like that? And it just, there was like, literally, there was just like, that was it. And then Sanders like, yeah, you went off track. Like I try to, you're kind of along for the ride there, but I did feel the car go backwards and then does that Porsche lawn dart thing. So I just kind of went left hand down to get it to keep going. And I was in the dirt. Couldn't see anything, still spinning. I was like, man, this is taking a long time to slow down. I was like, it felt like I was at the edge of like going over, but then
which is always scary when you're in the dirt.
And then so got to woe down. And then by the time the dirt settled, I could finally get it back into neutral and reverse. I'm looking around, I'm like, I don't even know where the track is. I was so far off the track because the track's up a little higher. I was like, okay, that's the barrier. I'm looking around and I'm like looking for somebody to drive to like get a point of reference. And finally I saw this car go by. I'm like, okay, I got to go back over that way.
And you were going so fast that the arrow popped the rear hatch.
So when I went back,
did it blow the rear window out?
When I went backwards, it ripped the deck lid, the engine lid open, and then that slammed into the rear glass and broke it out, and then delammed the rear deck lid. So I was like, I thought everybody thought I hit the wall. I'm like, no, I never hit the wall. But they're like, the whole back.
You hit a wall of air.
I hit, yeah. That was, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Is that your fastest off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
By a pretty significant margin.
Yeah. Did you tell the wife about it?
I undersold it a little.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. She doesn't listen to this podcast,
No,
right?
she's not going to listen to your podcast, Brian. Sorry.
So I shouldn't clip this and put this on Instagram. Leave this part out.
Probably we could leave that.
Okay, yeah, sure. Got it.
But yeah.
So I want to get into everyone's background here because you started with Mustangs, right?
Yeah, early on when I was 14.
Like Fox Body Mustang?
No, the 67.
Early stuff.
Yeah,
okay.
Early stuff, yeah. 67, and then all I wanted to do was drag race and street race. And then when I was in my early teens or late teens, I got a job at a car dealership that had a lot of Porsches there, and I just started building up this affinity for 911s. And then I got to drive a 930 turbo once, and I was just blown. That was game over.
I'm pretty sure Vinny and I's story is exactly the same, which is that we belong to the cult of Volkswagen, and Volkswagen told you that first you'll own a VW, and then you'll own an Audi, and then you'll own a Porsche.
Good.
That was just like
that was the
ownership
VW
progression.
kids progression. But I will say, back in the day, I never drove a 911. Actually, I don't even remember. I think my first 911 I drove was my friend had a 964, and I didn't like it at all. He had a 964 C4. That had like 120,000 miles on it. Nothing special, mostly stock.
And you're kind of like, man,
not really that great of a car. It was cool to look at, but I was like, I never really cared that much about it. I always liked the water-cooled cars from afar. I just thought they sounded cool, they looked cool, whatever. But never had any experience driving them. So I didn't really fall in love with 911s until I got to drive some. Yeah, like some really nice setup ones.
Yeah, that I don't blame you. When I first drove a 964 and a 993, I was like, I don't know. And then I got to drive a Boxster, like a 986 Boxster base model.
Yeah.
I was like, this is so much fun.
Yeah.
And then actually was a lot of fun. So like the progression you guys are talking about, I had a Mark III GTI with a VR6 in it.
Oh, no way. How did we just find this out today?
I knew. Yeah. It's why I keep it to close.
And I loved that car. And then
trying to convince them to build another one for Treff Punks this year.
Yeah, they're probably gonna have to.
And then found a black. It was found a 98 black one, $4,500.
Stay focused.
Okay, yeah. And then I had a 944. Bought a 944 for $800 when I was like 18, 19, so I can go SEC racing with it. And I love the 944. That's a slept-on car, except the engine's break.
Yeah, you can finish my wife's if you'd like to. We'll talk about that. She doesn't listen to this pod either. I want to finish it and just surprise her with it.
Yeah, I mean I love those cars. They're good cars.
Vinny's like, I can't believe you're asking your friend to do that.
I love watching both of you guys. Anytime you suggest something, Vinny's like, I've got news for you, Brian. That ain't gonna work.
You would think we hate each other, but we don't.
we were just talking about.
We actually, it's like the old expression of like, you go any direction too far. Like you go far enough left, you want guns again.
Yep.
Right. It's like Vinny and I love each other so much. I think we hate each other.
It's like you guys are. It depends on where the pendulum's swinging at that time between your guys' relationship.
I think my thing with Brian is I just default to arguing with him so much so that sometimes I agree, but I find myself arguing
I'm not going to give it to him.
But that's because both of us, combat is our love language. Literally, like fighting, arguing, conflict is what makes me feel loved, and it's how I show love. If I'm not disagreeing with you, I probably don't like you.
I love it. That's awesome.
So anyway, 944 is good cars, huh?
Awesome. Great cars.
So, but for me, I had never driven a 911 when I was younger, and then I became a journalist. I got to drive the water cooled ones, and I think it was like the first. I drove so many cars. Like that's one really interesting thing about being a journalist is you get to drive a little bit of everything. So, and most people don't get to do that in their lives, right? Like they may own this, they may own that. You've obviously owned a ton of stuff, but this is cool thing to be like, hey, I drove a Vantage this week, and then the next week I drove a Ferrari, and then the week after that I drove a Lamborghini, and then I drove a 911, and the 911s just felt different and not as special. Like to me, 911 is a sports car. Doesn't matter if it's a GT3 RS, it's a sports car.
No, it's
like,
weird. Only the new ones
specialness.
feel like they're super cars, but before that, the 911 was king sports car.
It's just king sports car. It is like the quintessential sports car. But I loved how they drove. I loved how they drove on track. And then I got to drive an RS America. Just went into a test drive. It's funny I mentioned Aston because I drove an Aston Martin Vantage V8 to go test drive in old RS America. So one, the Vantage was way faster. Like just everything about it was nicer. But like just going around a couple corners, I wasn't pushing it too hard because it was a test drive for a car I wanted to buy. And by the way, the car was $20,000. 2009.
Ouch.
$20,000 RS America, and it had a supercharger kit on it.
Insane.
What? Yeah, which actually made it feel like slightly peppy. It wasn't as fast as a turbo.
Yeah,
but there was just this thing about the turn-in it, and especially on the air cooled. I think like the glass house is something no one really talks about much. Or maybe it is. Like maybe I'm not enough in the Porsche circles, but like nothing feels better than that cockpit. And that was just it. Like I got into all these other cars. I drove all these other cars, and all of them were either, could have been better in straight line performance, could have been better in cornering, but there was something about how it felt to sit in a 911 and how it all looked.
And they've kept that throughout all the generations. I made a video where we did like base 997 all the way up to GT3 RS and like how they all compare and stuff. And the thing I said when I drove Alex's C2S was you get in a 911 and it feels incredibly unique. Like you look out the steering wheel, the dash is the perfect small size, and then you see just the tops of the two fenders and like the leading edge of the headlight, and it's such a unique 911 only feeling. And they did a great job at like keeping the cabin small as the cars got even a little bigger. Like they feel really intimate. So I think driving a 911 feels like majorly special just from like a ergonomic standpoint.
I agree completely. No matter what 911 you get into, whether it is an RSA or even a new GT3 RS, you're driving a 911.
Yeah, and
granted, they're very different, but you know that I'm in a 911.
Well, that's the thing I always found interesting because like I love 997. It's like my favorite car in the world. I boast about this constantly. On paper, most 911s like they're not that special. Like when you're like, oh, it's 3,100 pounds, it makes 400 horsepower, it's a 6-speed. Like it all sounds fine, but a lot of cars fit those stats. But then you drive a well set up one and you're like, I can't quantify what it is, but it's the best car ever.
Yeah,
like I told everyone, I was like, drive a 997 GT3 and tell me there's a better car.
Right.
Like I can't find one.
I mean, I think you heard this. Like Jeff Swart agrees that the GT3 RS is one of the greatest. Like 997 GT3 RS is one of the greatest cars.
And by the numbers, it's not that impressive.
But it just takes all of that and does it really. It does it really well. Like you said, nothing stands out from the stats. But when you bring it all together, Porsche did such a good job on extracting the most out of all those not nuances, but those, I would say, subtle stats.
Yeah.
So I've never driven newer than a 997 like at anger. Like I've driven like
they only get better. Like a little bit more numb and like assisted, but like, they just get better. Like it's insane how good they are.
Because I was a journalist when the 997 was out, so I've like driven those on track, and like that's just a car that just felt great. Like it was just, I mean, the newer ones seem really big to me, and I've driven them like around town or like been in them, but like
they're big, right?
They just seem big. But the 997 feels like it's like the right evolution from this, which is a 960.
Well, I'll add my 2 cents of a normal guy, and then Betim could talk as an expert and like a race car driver. But 997 drives like an old air-cooled car, and that it's hard to drive on track. I had to ask Jeff Swart like how to drive this friggin' thing because it's so difficult. You have to drive it like a 911, lot heavy on the brakes, lots of trail braking, like patience on the throttle, very stabby when you're ready for it. Like it's a certain way. Whereas the 991 and then the 992 RSs, holy shit, like they're just so much easier to be incredibly fast in. And I'm sure the threshold is higher than my driving ability, but like a 992 RS, I don't even know if it drives like a rear engine car. It just feels like you do whatever the fuck you want.
100%. As a company, that company has to evolve, has to show you lap times, have to show evolution of performance, right? Across the technologies that they're applying to the car. It'd suck to build something and then all of a sudden it's slower, right?
Right, yeah.
And so they can't. But when they do that, they have to take all of our skill sets, everybody's, and they got to say, well, how do we make everybody quick? You're not a pro driver. I'm not a pro driver. You know, maybe that guy is. So you start to get into this world of numbness. And I think there's a point where I don't give a shit about my lap time. Unless you're competing, I care about the driving experience.
Yeah.
I don't, like to your point, my favorite track driving car out of the box is a .1 GT3 RS. It's not the .2. The .2 is quite a bit better, but I don't know why I felt so connected in the .1. 997.1. I could throw that thing around and just drive it like a complete extension of me. Maybe that's just a product of my time, my generation, spending the most time in 997.
Because that's what the gen when you were working at Porsche Motorsport.
Right.
Too,
yeah.
right?
Well, I was in the transitional period from 996 to 997 there. Yeah. And then, next to a G-body car that's well sorted, I don't think there's a more fun 911 to drive than the 997, like to your point. But then you get into, I had a 992 Carrera S, I had a 992 GT3 and a GT3 RS. The Carrera S was so easy to crush lap times with. It was unreal. Bone stock. All we did is a little bit of an alignment to it.
Talk about a car no one talks about.
We were out at Willow doing like sub 30s, like 129s, 28s.
Which is really fast.
All day long with my son's child seat in the back. And I just passed, I just had all my employees drove, everybody drove it, and then just drove it home with smoked tires.
That's incredible.
And the thing was perfect. Then my wife drives it to work, so, but it was like, it was numb. I didn't have that like, I'm in front of this thing. Was like, it didn't reward you for sawing at the wheel. Didn't reward you for rotating it on the way in and then getting back to apex on throttle, how a 911 takes a seat and does it. It rewarded you for hitting the brakes nice and smooth, turning in, looking at your apex, and as the car starts to unwind, you just squeeze the throttle a little bit and you cruise across, and then you're piecing together a lap like that. And that's, to me, great, awesome, well engineered. But I like my personal driving style. I like to work a wheel. I like to throw a car in. Yeah. I like to feel the edge.
You know what's kind of crazy? I just had this thought because it makes sense. Like you said that cars get almost too technologically advanced and you want feeling. And OEMs are never going to go back to making cars that are more analog. Like we could only keep going forward. I think speed and, horsepower and stuff eventually will plateau. Maybe. I don't know. But it's crazy that like the Evo project, is what you want to do to get back at that.
There
And
you go.
the price you're going to have to pay to get an analog experience new now is going to be these independent, what do you call it? Like coach builders who are making cars like the Evo or like Gunther Works, Singer, like these. And I don't know, there's probably other ones outside of the Porsche
like
world.
The hills, roof.
But like you're going to have to pay such an exorbitant amount of money if you want that experience.
In a car that has new-ish
Yeah.
tech.
But I think it's really
like
cool because
type car.
we've reached this point where like new cars are so crazy. I mean, we were just talking about the Lamborghini, what the hell's that new one? Revolto.
Oh, yeah.
And like it's so fast and it's got a V12 and it's hybrid.
Isn't it running like low 9s out of the box?
Yeah, but like you feel nothing.
Yeah,
you drive this thing in anger and you're just like, you feel nothing. So now guys like yourself who have the technical ability and the resources to do something are like, I'm going to take some action at this. I'm going to make a car for the people who want this like actual feeling of connectivity to a car with like, not no expense spared, but like no compromises.
Right. So exactly. And that's, you take everything that you've loved about all of the car, like you, to your, both of your points, you guys are very lucky that you've been able to drive a lot of different cars. I'm also very lucky. I've been able to drive, I mean, every car we've ever built really in the last 19, 20 years of BBi, all our hill climb cars, anything that rolled off the line new, I got to drive a new 997, every time they were new, I got to be a part of this. So, stacking all that in my head and just watching the driving experience go away and the velocities and speeds going up and the fun diagram of where fun and
the Venn diagram starts to spread out.
It does. And all of a sudden they're getting pulled apart and you're like, fuck, how do we am I allowed to say that? Sorry.
You can say what the fuck you want.
How do we get back to creating an experience, but still having something that's speed and engaging, right? So I
think like at the core of it, we all probably have the same criteria, which is like, I want a race car, but I want it to be street legal and kind of comfortable. Like everyone wants the same shit.
You have to flex duality. And that's one thing that technology does do though, is you have versatility, duality, and variabilities.
Right.
I actually think one of the big problems that's going on right now in like the modern automaker world is speed is relative. When you're on the plane, you don't realize you're doing 550 miles an hour. Right? Because you're not experiencing it. This 911, which is a 1991 964, feels fast at 80. I mean, it'll do 150. I've done it, but like at 150, it's terrifying. Level of
you don't want to do it.
But my old Audi A8L, I've also taken to 150, and Tony Harmer was sleeping in the passenger seat and didn't wake up. Like modern cars have actually removed so much of the noise, vibration, and all of that you remove that sense of speed. So you actually have to increase the speed. So like you're actually adding speed, which is actually like arguably also adding danger to something just to feel what you were feeling before.
Right.
It's like sex with or without a condom.
Right.
Like it's like that element of like you're creating this barrier that you don't feel the speed. It's why karting feels so fast.
I think you drove it, but you don't. I don't know if you did. The new Lotus, Emira was
the
it?
Emira.
The Emira was so bizarre because they made it fairly analog and that it had hydraulic steering and like a cable shifter that felt pretty good, but they deleted all the NVH out of it otherwise. Yeah. So you had this car that had pretty good steering feel, good shifter feel.
I thought it had great steering feel.
But
it felt really good.
The chassis was way too smooth. So you almost felt like you had these two like inputs that were like analog, and then the rest was like silk. And I found it to be very
almost
jarring.
felt like a simulator.
Yeah, it was very
I was gonna say
jarring
to get that. Yeah,
like some pieces of it felt right.
Yeah,
like
I was like, damn, you need like a couple spherical joints and like solid motor mounts to make this thing give you a little bit of grit. Like you need just a little grit in this
add
thing.
some Delrin in here. I want to lose a filling.
Right. Yeah.
Not that bad, but like certain cars, like to be visceral, need a little bit of like that.
And it doesn't always have to equate to all out speed. You can create an experience.
No, and that's
right?
what I think we've created is we've made cars actually so fast that I think it's going to, and this is a whole other conversation, but I think cars have become so fast now that we're going to see speed cameras and stuff like this in America, because it used to be that the average person didn't break 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, now it's so easy.
Now it's like everybody does, right? Because you can buy a Hellcat, you can buy all these things that just make phenomenal power, and it's so easy to.
But
go
I mean,
that fast.
you could see it just to bring us back to 911s and Porsches is new ZR1 versus new GT3 RS.
There you go. Yeah.
Lap times are, you know, all things considered, pretty close. Considering the ZR1 makes over 2 times the amount of horsepower, but the 911 stayed true or truer to its roots and was like, we're going to optimize everything at 500 horsepower. And that's why I still like the 992 GT3 RS, because it's like you still get a 9,000 RPM, 4-liter, you know, flat 6. Whereas I drove the ZR1 and it's a blast, but it's honestly too fast.
Yeah.
Like no one needs that much power. Like on the racetrack, I've driven.
Didn't you say it actually made you nauseous?
I was going to say, I've driven countless cars on track. I've driven race cars. I've driven production cars. The ZR1 made me want to throw up.
While driving, not in the passenger seat?
No, driving.
Oh, geez.
Dude, going at Coda on the back straight, 182 miles an hour to 60, back up to 120 in 4 seconds. You know, you're just on those carbon ceramics super hard, and you're like so many G's braking, and then tons of lateral G's turning, and then the torque out of the corner, because there's a pretty fast straight section after that, is like, you're just, dude, it's insane. And I was like, this is factory. It's a bone stop.
Out of the box.
Had a 3-point seatbelt on.
Geez, you're going
180
lap after lap after lap.
Which is like something I think about now that I'm older, like the amount of ridiculous shit I did in press cars on track with like no helmet and a seatbelt, because they were like, helmets. Oh, you don't have to wear a helmet.
They made it for helmets.
I drove the new M5 in whatever, 2008, 2009 at Road America, like flat out, like no helmet, like going into that like down, like the downhill section. And at one point I was like, this doesn't end well if it ends.
Yeah, that's gonna be bad no matter what.
Yeah. But it's just like normal, like, you signed the paperwork.
Okay.
I want to rewind this though, because I want to get back to our original point and discuss that. So all of us at some point, we either liked Porsches or as an early age, it was something that we were bred into or whatever it is. And now we are at like this really kind of crazy peak, like Porsche moment, right? And the other day, this is, I think, one of the things that kind of initiated this conversation is that James Pumphrey was like, he made the announcement that 911s are officially no longer cool or something like that, right? And
my argument was that James, like, there's a lot of different types of car people. Right. Everyone likes cars for different reasons, and James is definitely more of the cars are an accessory to your personality.
Right.
Like you get a car.
They're fashion element.
It's a fashion element, and you enjoy other pieces of it, of course. But if you just like a car to be an accessory, 911s are sort of played, because it's like for $80,000 to buy a G body to look cool, like you could buy a E28 5 Series, you could buy a 190E, you could buy a 500E, you can buy countless other really cool vintage cars to look interesting. Right. But once you get into the driving dynamics, saying it's not cool is blasphemy. Like, that's insane.
It's pretty wild.
Well, this is like, we had this conversation the other day, because I jumped on one of Vinny's episodes to talk about the Ferrari 360, and I said the difference between the two is that the 911 is a driver's car and the Ferrari is an enthusiast car. Because like the 911, like you really have to enjoy driving a car to love, like it's what makes you really love it. Where like the Ferrari just makes all the right noises and the right smells. And
you want to hear the worst diss to the 360?
Yeah.
So I try to like categorize cars that I want for like, I think cars need their purpose, and I don't want to like double down on cars because I don't have enough space or mental capacity. And like,
I feel personally attacked.
I know, but
that was right at you.
So like 997 GT3 is like canyon car or like track car. Ferrari 360, cars and coffee car. Because going to cars and coffee around in LA means you're driving on some boring ass straight highway, and then you're going to sit at a million red lights, and then you're just going to show up somewhere and park. Ferrari 360. Car's super comfortable. It's super easy to drive. It's like, it's great. People think it's cool. Whereas like you go to the mountains or you go to the track, I want to take the Porsche. 100%. Like I think it's a way different car, whereas like I don't think 911s are that impressive to show up to cars and coffee and stuff. Like you're not like oohing and ahhing over them, but I think that when you're going for the driving experience, 911 is way more fun than the 360. Would
Yeah.
you not agree? Even like 964 to
Oh, 100%.
yeah.
Like the 964 is just such a more fun car to drive. I mean, also like mine's manual, and like I think I actually like the noises that the 911 makes more than my Ferrari personally, but I know that the noises the Ferrari make are more exotic.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It's like more unique in a way.
Yeah, like it's also something I never had ever seen myself driving.
Same.
So like a lot of times I'll be listening to the 360 and I'm like, I'm making the car I'm driving is making that noise.
I know the feeling.
Where, you know, Betim built the exhaust on my 911, so it sounds like a fucking race car. Like it's just obnoxious.
I
Like
needed to match the look.
Yeah, it has to match the look. And it's like, so it's a different kind of sound. It's more of a like, it's a real fucking pissed off noise.
That's actually one of my slight tangent, but back onto Porsches. One of my biggest gripes with RWBs is like, I love this generation RWB. I'm not really a fan of a lot of the new stuff. You build a car that looks like this, it's got to have some bite. But like you see people building a car that's like 7 inches wider than this, and it has like scoops on the bolt-on rear fenders and like a huge wing, and then you're like, oh, what is it? Like, oh, it's a 3-liter SC. You're like, oh, so that makes 142 wheel horsepower.
Yeah.
Like, but you have a 18 by 45 inch rear wheel with a 400 inch tread.
You look like you built like an endurance car out of it, you know, out of a war movie. It's like, yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And that was, I mean, for me and for, I would say a lot of other shops out there that have some racing background, breaks your heart when you see that. You're like, well, the whole point of a bigger wheel, going from like 16s to 18s, to put more brake under it. The whole point of a wider wheel is to fit more tire on it. So you got to cover it with some fenders so you can go quicker. So you have, you know, better contact patch and so on. So you got to fix the geometry. But when you're just shitting all over your scrub radius on the front, like, and you got no stank out back, it's kind of, it's a hard pill to swallow. So then you're moving. So there's kind of a good point. You're moving from the driver to the enthusiast, which is nothing wrong with everybody. Look, I like all forms of the automotive world. It just depends on what you think is cool. So you guys were saying earlier, what?
Well, I think I want to get back to this point, because I think we're such Porsche files. We immediately just jumped into just slobbing the Porsche knob, just talking about how fucking great they are. And, but like, I'm also like, I don't consider myself a Porsche guy. Are you you're like, you might be a Porsche guy now.
I would say that I'm a fucking loser, for sure. So like I'm on like Renlist, I'm on the forums.
He's more of a Porsche guy than I am.
I like, yeah, I'm a fucking Porsche guy for sure.
Because I obviously my favorite car I own is a Porsche. If I had to sell all my cars but one, even though it would be make the least practical sense, I would keep my 911. My 911 is like, it's just the most important car I own to me.
Yeah.
I should drive it more. That's a whole other conversation. But I really love this car. Like, and I've known it, you know, forever now, right?
Yeah.
I've had it for a decade plus. And oh shit, even more than that. And I absolutely love the car. I love driving it. But like, I don't know, like I don't know if I would buy another 911. Maybe I'd buy a 997. But like, I'm not like here to collect a ton of them. Like one of them works really well for me. Like where I think like a lot of people now are like, oh, I'm collecting 911s. I'm like, must be nice.
I don't know. I shop cars a lot because like it's my autism. I love looking for cars, especially now that I could buy and sell cars more. Always looking at 911s. 911 is my most searched car because I will buy, like, I want a fucking cool air-cooled 964. I want a 996 turbo. I want another 997 GT3 RS. I want a 991 RS. I want a fucking 997 turbo. I want a, 993 turbo. Like, they're all so fucking cool. Like, there's so many of them are sick.
It might be because of when I got into it, but when I was searching them, like a 964 was a $10,000 to $15,000 car unless it was a turbo. A 993 was a $40,000 car. Like those all, like now when I look at them, the price is so crazy that I couldn't bring myself to like buy another. Yeah,
I guess for me though, because we're so different, like you buy a car and you spend $100,000, you're never getting that $100,000 back because you're keeping the car forever.
Right.
For me, I'm like, I'll buy a 993 whatever because I'll drive it for 6 months and I'll sell it and like. It all comes back. They're all worth what they're worth now. It's not like you're going to buy a 993 for, 75 grand and then 3 months from now it's worth like 40.
Right.
They're just worth what they're worth. So,
but still fundamentally a 964 to me is still a $25,000-$30,000 car.
Totally.
Like, when you know what I mean.
No, well, I mean, Vinny had this great line about E36s, and he said an E36 is like a $6,000 experience.
That was Matt Farah, but I supported 100%.
Oh, Matt Farris. Okay,
Yeah.
I always thought it was yours, but
I don't
whatever.
know, me too. Maybe I said it and Matt stole it.
Yeah, whatever it is. But I think that is a very true moment where it's like E36 M3s could be worth 25 grand, but it's a $6,000 to $7,000 experience. I would say this car to me is a $50,000 experience.
No, that I've never driven this car.
Maybe you've driven it.
Oh yeah, I love
Maybe
driving
okay. Maybe it's a $75,000.
No, I would
experience.
say in current market, like
Not in current market.
no,
just
no,
like the,
but just like in general,
Yeah.
with what else you could get.
What else are you gonna get for the same
experience?
Okay.
It's a 6-figure experience. It's fast. It's fun. It's raw. It sounds cool. Like
Is it a $300,000
no,
experience?
but I don't know what is. I had the same problem with my GT3
And that's why you sold your GT3 RS.
because I don't know what to me a $300,000 experience is like an exotic car.
Right.
It's a hyper car.
Right.
You know, like some people were like, "Oh, like you're so dumb you sold your car." It's,
Yeah.
Whether it's $300K or $3 million, I feel like it's the same shit. It's like such an exorbitant amount of money for an experience. So I feel the same way, but I just am more privy to the current car market.
No, and I get that because like I'm kind of stuck in like where I spent money for it.
Yeah.
And I think you and I've talked about this before, but the experience that the car gives me is less the more the car is worth.
Totally.
One, because you just in your head that this is worth a crazy amount of money, but also the maintenance, or if something was to happen to it, the replacement cost is just not
it's
there.
all like that. I think is super subjective. It's like that's your tax bracket because like there are guys or girls who are gonna buy an Evo for I don't even know how much it costs. You could say it.
Many monies.
All the monies.
And won't think twice about it. And
I know.
will park it next to other cars that
It's
are
so relative,
millions
right?
of dollars.
Yeah.
So like one of my friends just texted me. He just bought a Carrera GT and he's like
Sick.
literally ripping it around on the street, drifting it everywhere. He just put like 400 miles on it yesterday.
That's
like
awesome.
doesn't care, right? But like he might be a lot more well off than
Yeah.
we are to be worried about
You
it.
drove the Carrera GT, right? What'd you think of it?
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It really truly is.
It's awesome. I don't like the clutch situation, but it's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it's interesting because I don't look at this car as an investment. I always say like I don't plan on selling it. So the raised value is actually just more of a nuisance. It just makes me worry about it more. And like I don't want to be one of those people who's like, and I'm mad at all the people who made Porsches cool for making them ridiculously expensive. But I do think that they cost more than the experience is worth. Like we've reached that point where they are more valuable than what the experience you get out of it.
See, I'll counter argue that though, because I think like you drive, we talked about like a stock 964 or like you drive a 80 SC bone stock. I think it's horrifically boring. Like I can't stand them. But if you're buying that car for a piece of the lifestyle, entrance into the community, the way it looks, whatever, is it not worth it?
Do you really think, I want to go back to your initial statement here. Do you really think a stock 911 is boring?
Horrible.
I know.
I think
I've driven like stock C2 997 at the C2
Oh,
launch.
but I drove Alex's
It was
stock.
still really fun.
Stock
Like,
997 was great. I'm talking like air cooled stuff. I think needs some spice. I think it needs some spice.
yeah, the older ones are a bit slow.
Yeah.
But not only that, the suspension's numb. It's very like they have them US ride heights, and it's there's so much you can do for so little to improve that experience. Just an initial turn in and the way the car feels, just they immediately need coilovers and probably sway bars back then, and then you start to have something fun. But yeah, I mean, you're talking like 7s and 8-inch wide wheels on a it's
My SC, I kept a bone stock motor, had 400,000 miles on it. I brought it to BBi. We did all the elephant racing stuff.
Yep.
We did KW coilovers, some bigger brakes, bigger 16-inch wheels with I think 205 and 215s or something like that, and did like a sick corner balance and stuff. That car ripped. It was so much fun. The transmission in that car kind of sucked, but it was a blast, and it probably made 150 wheel horsepower.
Yeah, my SC is one of my favorite cars to drive in the engine stock.
Yeah,
and it's just fun because it's small. You can get that engagement feeling without going too crazy, and it's just you feel a lot more planted and connect, like your ass is this high up from this. Yeah. And like segueing into, I know we got to get into this a little bit, but the relative comment, are Porsches still cool? I mean, I personally think that after the cars started getting PDKs, I think that that brought the accessibility of a 911 up to a point where
interesting. Yeah.
Where people who had Audi R8s, BMW M3s, M5s, it allowed an accessibility to what was called the Widowmaker, or like the ass happy H pattern, harder to extract that lap time out of a car, because and I think that drove and I saw it in my business, I saw it in the clientele that we were getting, I saw it in other shops popping out of nowhere that used to work on all the other cars, and then their buddy went and bought a 991 GT3, rear steer, PDK, a big car on 21-inch wheels.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden this car became accessible to, you can go to the track and still be a hero out there. Whereas you take your RS and you actually have to huff that thing to get a lap time out of it. Yeah. Right. And not a lot of people like that.
The first day I had this, I spun it at 100 miles an hour on Woodhaven Boulevard in Queens and almost killed me and Ron.
Because you probably sent it like I thought it was a normal car.
And I was a journalist at the time. I had driven a bunch of stuff. I had driven 997s. I'd driven 996s. But this was still Widowmaker level. And the car spun in a straight line.
Yeah.
Dude,
you probably hit a bump, under boost, and it's
exactly. And I lifted off, and the weight transfer, and the thing came around, and I was going backwards through an intersection. I may or may not have also been on like blue Pilot Sports that were that had been shaved and were like track tires. I took off my friend's dad's car that hadn't been on a car in 10 years. That may have had a little bit to it.
Yeah,
but everything I could do to get the car straight wasn't happening.
Yeah.
And it was wildly out of control. And it made me both fear the car and also love the car.
But I do a lot of research before I do stuff. And when I was going to take my 997 to the track, it was the first time I ever had tracked a Porsche, I think, but definitely a 997. I remember I hit up Betim for pointers because people online made it sound like this car was going to be deadly.
Yeah.
Whereas the newer cars, I think, like Betim said, you're a little you remove that barrier. And I always kind of find it funny when you have McLarens at your shop, because I'm like, what the hell is this doing here? And then I kind of realized that 991, 992 GT buyers are probably cross-shopping those and 670 LTs and shit.
Right.
It's the same person at this point.
It is. And that's... Yeah, and even down to how people mod their cars between post 997 into 991, 992, the cars have just gotten so quick, and the drivers haven't been able to keep up with that. And what I mean is, they haven't been able to extract what just the factory is going to give you, where they can come back and give constructive feedback. Like, well, look, I've got some mid corner exit oversteer. Normally like on a 997, we're like, all right, cool, we'll do the diff, we'll do the suspension.
I would say 95% of Porsche owners couldn't actually define what mid exit corner oversteer is. I think that's part of mid corner exit oversteer. I think that's actually part of the issue too.
Well, I mean, that probably is. And then so I also wanted to ask your guys' opinion. When did you think, or was there some catalyst in going and buying a 911 to join the buddy club, or the separation from enthusiast and driver, where you saw the enthusiast crowd growing a lot more than the driver's car?
I can tell you because I was there when it happened. So I bought my 911 because I always wanted one. I never thought I'd own more than a 944. So my heart was set on a 944. The prices then sort of tumbled on the 911 market. I was looking at 355s because they had hit 40 to 50 grand. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. And then I stumbled on 911. I was like, I cannot believe this is this cheap. You're talking 10 to 20 grand. This is crazy. I'm going to go buy a 911 right now. This is such a great car. And when I bought that, I bought this thing for whatever, 30 and change. And which was expensive at the time, it felt like, but none of my friends had 911s. No one thought they were cool. The joke always is why didn't you buy an Evo? Those were way cooler. So and when I bought mine, there wasn't a community of 911 guys that I wanted to be a part of. It was PCA, going to Lime Rock and going to autocross, and they would have been annoyed with me for whatever, because I had the 4.0 wing on the car and shouldn't have, or whatever it was, right? So, and then all of a sudden, I think you had this perfect storm of three things that happened at once. Here we are with another storytime interruption brought to you by my good friends at FCP Euro. Look, if you are a frequent listener of Very Vehicular, you know that I have been threatening to call the herd. Sell cars. That's what I've been threatening to do. A couple days ago, I decided, you know what? I'm going to make the first step. And the first step is posting a feeler post. See who's interested. And to my dismay, a lot of people were interested. The car in question is my 1991 Audi 200 Avant 20 valve turbo. The problem is it just doesn't fit what I want right now. I got a couple other wagons. I think I want to swap this out for something else. So I figured put it up on the chopping block. Over the weekend, I decided it was time to clean it up, take those photos, try to actually move it and sell it. Unfortunately, I fell back in love. How could I possibly get rid of it? So I deleted the post and immediately went to fcpeuro.com and just started filling the cart with a bunch of things. Because see, for me, if I have a lot of parts to finish a car, it makes it a lot harder to sell, right? I mean, this makes sense. So I started getting all the basics. And the first thing is suspension bushings. This immediately makes a car better. It had a squeaky belt. I replaced that. I needed a clutch master. Pick that up. And a few other things. And of course, a whole bevy of liquid moly fluids, you know, because it makes the car feel happier. So anyway, I did all that, and I guess the car is not for sale anymore. If you too are looking for an excuse not to sell a car, head over to fcpeuro.com, invest in some more parts, and get that project of yours back on the road and off of the classified posts. Keep it off of Marketplace, guys. Stop selling cars unless you're selling them to me. And then all of a sudden, I think you had like this perfect storm of three things that happened at once. Magnus Walker, Nakai-san, RWB, and Singer.
There you go. I agree.
These three things came out at the same time. Like I remember when Singer came out, I was at the magazine still, and we were just blown away that anyone would put that much effort into an air-cooled car.
Right.
And they
let alone a 964.
Yeah, and it was right, because the 964
that was like the black sheep.
Right. It was the black
No
sheep.
one cared
Right.
about it.
It was the perfect car for a project like that. If you could rub a magic ball and look downstream a little bit. But
it wasn't the 993, which was the last of the air-cooled, and it wasn't the G-body. It lived in a weird world. It wasn't a long nose, right? Like no one seemed to care about them. And then they built this car that, especially the first one, I thought was beautiful. And there was just a bunch of really cool stuff, and the press went crazy for it. And now all of a sudden, you had magazines, which still mattered at the time, waxing poetic about 911 air-cooled again. Nobody had been talked about them for a while because we were well into the 997 at this point. Like the 996 was there, we had the 997. Porsche, in my opinion, was losing all of its steam. You had this era where it's like they cared more about the Cayenne and the Panamera than they did about their sports cars. That was obviously what, I know the economics of it. I know those saved the company, so on and so on.
That's what birthed the Ford GT.
Of course.
I mean, the Carrera GT.
The Carrera GT, right. Like all of these things, like all that stuff came out. Totally understand the value of it, but the brand was losing kind of the concept. And I don't want to tangent too much. I think this is a really important story.
I think it was that, and then the final fucking boss of Porsche coolness, Lufticolt. No,
but let me get on the first three because I was there. So the first one really was Singer. And that got magazines to be talking about it again. Now air-cooled's like back in front of people again, right? Then you have Magnus Walker, who it was like a completely different approach.
He changed the optics of 911.
Yes, absolutely. It changed the stigma of, here you are dready and
also like
punk rock.
It was also like a Volkswagen aesthetic applied to 911s, like mismatched panels, like, just this aesthetic that didn't
mini lights in the back, Fuchs in the front.
Right, and it wasn't the dentist 911. Like that was what 911s were. They were like, they were so uncool. They were tragically unhip. So tragically unhip that Porsche would not give 0 to 60 magazine a 911 for a test drive because they told us that our audience couldn't afford them. So I wrote them this letter, and I basically to Porsche America, and I said, look, they said, oh, you can drive a Boxster, you can drive a Cayman, And I said, no, we want to drive the new 911, like the 997, like that's what we want to go drive right now. And they're like, no, it's just not where your audience is. And I was like, look, I want a 911. I will one day own a 911 because as a kid, that was a car that was important to me. My cousin, who is more than 10 years younger than me, wants a GTR because he grew up playing Gran Turismo and no one played with the roof cars. Like you guys have forgotten your audience. You have forgotten.
Porsche wouldn't even license the Porsche in the early cars.
Right, that's crazy.
You had to, and then
and they wouldn't let us, Jalopnik, Autoblog, like all of the young media was prohibited from driving the
But look at the generations now. We were those kids playing with the roof,
But they were this close to I think to the 911 falling away. I think they were this close, and it was none of their own decisions that saved Porsche in the element of it being cool. Because in my feelings, from just like the culture of Porsche, Singer, one, brought a premium audience in, a big money spender,
Supercar audience,
got the journalists, and started comparing it to Ferraris again, right? Because shit, man, we were doing 911 versus GTR, 911 versus 370Z comparisons, because that's where the car had fallen to in terms of what people were expecting out of it, right? And then Magnus kind of makes this whatever cool thing, and then I don't care what you think about RWB. If you weren't there in 2009 when that first started showing up on Auto Otaku and everything, Nakai made 911s cool to a market of people who would have never even considered.
That was me
Porsche
for sure.
Cool. The JDM market, the Super Street kids, they all of a sudden thought these were cool and added like a cool style to it. And I think that made the air-cooled cars boom. And then that obviously spun off all these other things, and the Gunther Works and everyone else who went on, and a bunch of cool people bought the cars, and that continued to kind of expand it and grow it. And there's more and more people talking about it. And you can talk about the negatives and bad of that. And then I feel like one day Porsche woke up and they caught on. And now all of a sudden they understand spec. They understand making a bunch of cool variants. They understand things like the 911R. Like they got in and they were like, oh, we get it. These people want these cars to be special. They want to make cool stuff.
But it wasn't until the aftermarket and individuals went out and ironed that all out for them. It wasn't until the enthusiasts said, hey, we're going to build a culture around this. Maybe unwillingly or not knowing that that's what was going to happen, but it showed, three really passionate groups getting after something that they loved, from an artistic standpoint, from an expression standpoint, Magnus from a, personality standpoint. And it blended a bunch of worlds. It was a great genre bender.
During that time, I'm going to let my Porsche nerd show here, and I'm pretty embarrassed. But during that time, one, economic downturn was pretty rough.
2008 recession.
Yeah. But if you look at like 996 GT3, GT2 production numbers, this is early thousands. 996 GT3 in the US started in 03, 04, and then,
I think,
went through 997 in 2010. Like, dude, you're talking about they made less than 1,000 for the US market. So they weren't like worldwide production numbers on 996 GT3 was like 1,300 cars. On 997.1, it's like 1,500.2, it's like 1,500 or less. Like, so you're talking about like, think about how little they were putting into their top level cars. So you're like, we're making this Halo car, we're going to sell 1,000 to the world. That's like nothing.
Right.
So so to your point, I don't think they were really looking at it as like, oh, there's a big market for this stuff. They're like, we need to go racing. We make this fucking GT car. Like,
I also think
homologation car that some people might want.
Yeah.
I also think that this is a very American conversation because Porsche was still on a pedestal in Europe. It just, they lost it here.
That's a good.
I think there was still very much a pedestal for Porsche over there. I can't speak as much for other countries, but I was paying attention to what was happening there. Like, I do think that here they just lost sort of what made them cool, right? And it wasn't that the cars weren't good. I mean, I everyone has their feeling about the 996, but like the 996 is a fantastic
great
driving car.
I love the 996
compared to a 993. It is a huge advancement on the. I mean, you look. I think the stat is like the stock 996 was faster than the 993 turbo or something, right? I mean, like that's a huge advancement. Like, it was a really good car, but they sort of, I think, just missed what the audience wanted when that came out.
You know what I think happened to Porsche with all the crazy hype around like Luftgekühlt and RWB and Singer and all this stuff, and like kind of like top of funnel awareness of 911s is, I think the Ferrari effect happened. And it's that Porsche used to be looked at a brand that is for enthusiasts and people who care about cars and the driving and all that. Then it became super popular to where it was more of a status symbol thing. It was more of like you're buying this thing because it's expensive and sought after. So to me, like, I used to look at Ferrari people as like, you just have money and you wanted a cool car, so you bought a Ferrari, but like, you don't fucking care. You're not into cars. You don't work on them. You're not like living it.
Right.
And now 911s weren't that, but then like now I know a bunch of guys who have 911s that don't own a tool set.
Yeah.
They don't think about cars. They just were like, I have money. I want something
If
cool.
you ask them what their tire pressure is, they'd say, I don't know, but that the TPM TPS sensor doesn't say it's
Yeah,
on.
what are my outlap pressures going to be at?
Yeah, like no, they don't know anything about cars. They just know that they wanted a 911 and they got one. And that I think was kind of that tipping point of like, oh, maybe they're not cool anymore. Because it's like once, everyone had their favorite band as a kid who then made it onto the radio, and then you were like, ew, I'm not listening to them anymore.
But isn't that kind of the thing?
But this is exactly right. This is where I want to bring the conversation though, because skinny jeans were cool, and then they weren't cool. Functionally, they were just pants that fit a little snug. 911s could still not be cool and still be an amazing car. Do you know what I'm saying?
Like people who want them would prefer they weren't cool.
But do you know what I'm saying? Like I think that this
cool is subjective.
That there's like a fashion element. There's like fashion and function that like drives trend. And right now, 911s, not even right now, the past 10 plus years, 911s have been like just the top of hype.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of people I know who own 911s just because they're cool. They're 911s in music videos. There's not, air-cooled 911s in fashion ads and all of these things. But to me, that doesn't make a 911 any less cool.
Well, it's the one thing, because the silhouette of the 911 is...
It's one of the most iconic shapes.
You cannot mistake the silhouette of a 911. Whereas other cars, like an E30 M3, for example, it's all nuance. So
you realize that the silhouette of an E30 M3 is basically what my child draws when I say draw a car.
Yeah. For sure. So think about this, right?
You're like, is that a Volvo or is that an M3?
Yeah. If you want to impress someone...
Or a Dodge Aries.
Yeah. If you want to impress like general people, a base 911 and a top level 911 look pretty similar. Like the shape is there and you're like, oh yeah, that's that.
Right.
Whereas if you have an E30 M3, if you have a 190 Ikazi, if you have a fucking Audi RS2, it's a if you know thing. That's literally your license plate.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to like flex to the general public that you are this unique person, driving an old Audi station wagon that has Porsche parts on it, like isn't going to express that enough except to deep nerds.
But that's who I want to talk to.
No, I know. But
when I'm in a gas station, I want the deepest of nerds to ask
because you appreciate that
about my Audi.
But then that comes back to the whole thing about when somebody says, what's the guy's name who said that Porsches aren't cool anymore?
James Pumphrey.
Yeah, when he says Porsches aren't cool, what does cool mean to who? And you guys kind of kick this off with that. I don't want Porsches to be tremendously cool to people who don't, I think, add value back into the culture and community of it. I want them to be cool because they're robust. You can do almost anything you want with them, aside from turning into a monster truck. They're strong. They're well built. They're engineered to outpunch anything in their weight and horsepower class. And that to me is cool when you can take something like that. What the ripple effect. You just said something 10 years. You said 10 years ago, and I thought back 10 years ago, the 991 GT3 came out, and that to me was like
that's crazy.
Yeah, and that was 2014 or 15, 16 now, but like 2014 that was introduced, and that was when I started to see the seriousness of the driver fade into the darkness with their three cars that they have, their F body, G body, and a 997 GT3, and they just kept those, and they didn't move on to the 991s. And so the people who did move on to the 991s, maybe they were track rats and they wanted something, but Porsche had a hiccup then, and it almost killed it because the people who said, "Oh, a 991's going to be a lot faster," then the engine started blowing up. They had the F engine, and then I saw that almost kill the track enthusiast. And they started looking back at the 996 and 997 GT3s, and they're like, you know what? Actually, I can get a cup car for half the price.
Yeah,
and go get and so it's a weird gig here.
Well, I was gonna say, like financially though, it has to be great as a business owner who services Porsches because the values have climbed up. So your clientele who are buying them should have more money or are willing to spend more money on them.
There's a different viewpoint on that.
Yeah.
There's, with ADMs at the dealership, the person who could go get a 997, 991, 992 GT3 or RS, they're paying a lot more for the car. So now what that's done is created a a value appreciation model that then is it still going to be worth as much if I mod it?
Yeah.
There's also holy shit, I just spent
people
my
also are buying them as investments now.
right. I also spent my entire mod budget just to get in line for a car, right? And so
that's interesting.
yeah, and then you look at like 997s, they shot up. What are you doing with your 997 right now? You're putting it kind of back to stock. You're the
new one.
Yeah, the new one.
Yeah, I'm putting not back to stock,
but you're getting it more streetish,
yeah, more
right?
streetable.
Well, I've done more conversions back to stock on cars lately than I have modifying them. I mean, that's an exaggeration, but
but I know what you mean.
That is the flip
that's
side.
sad.
That is that
I want
could be.
to buy a car that was built by you guys, and the dude's like, yeah, I know it's not going to be worth as much because it's built.
Right.
It's a white 997 GT2.
Yeah. Okay.
And
So
he like thinks he wants to sell, and he's like, I don't know where to price it because like the modded ones sell for fractions of the price.
except there was a time right before the GT2s went up, the 992 or the 997 GT2s, right? They're still in like the $200,000 range.
Yeah.
And we had two modified ones out there, heavily modified. And it was the one time I ever saw getting a premium for a car because it was built by us.
Sick.
Yeah, it was a black one. That's the car that made like 1,600 horsepower. And we proved that it was a reliable package. And then another white one earlier on. And those are the only two that went above market.
What do you do with 1,600 horsepower?
I don't know.
911? Like,
Remember we drove that R8?
What does mine make? 400?
Yeah, maybe.
It's plenty.
Remember we
fast.
drove that IROS R8 on a drag strip, on a airstrip?
Yeah, it was
bonkers.
bonkers.
I was I literally drove it and I was like giddy for like 40 minutes after.
Hank Iroz's. It was giddy, but
I even said, I was like, this is stupid. What do you do with this?
But there were definitely, it wasn't raw. It was just fast.
It was insane.
It was
A
insane.
1,600 horsepower two-wheel drive H-pattern 911 is as fucking raw as you'll ever get. Like
Yeah,
there's
H-pattern gotta be nuts,
No,
dude.
because the car's constantly trying to drive in front of itself with the rear end. Every shift, it slowly unweights and it gets back down and it starts smoking the tires again. And it's like, that's why when I look at, I'm like, trying to set records out there. This was a little while ago. I haven't gone to the strip in a long time, but then I was like watching people in Lamborghinis and R8s just like drinking coffee, making the same horsepower, dusting me,
Right.
So, but it's part of that driving experience that you just get out. You're like, whoa, what?
Yeah.
Whoa. It's like grabbing a tiger by the tail and slapping his ass. And
Like
let's
Brian
go do
said,
it.
we drove the R8, 1,600 horsepower, fucking dual clutch, whatever. It's very like, I didn't even know what gear I was in. It was like, bah, 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 bah. And I was like, oh, watch the video back to find out I made it into sixth.
Yeah.
Whereas like with an H-pattern car, you know exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know?
Like even in Evo makes 800 horsepower when we got it yanked up, maybe 740 when I was driving it. That is so much car. But here's the thing. It's not really the fastest car out there. It's very, very engaging. It's very and that's what I'm after. I'm after that feeling that this car requires your attention and it requires your respect. And it doesn't matter. It could be a G-body at 150 horsepower in a canyon road, or it could be 800 horsepower, paddle shifted Evo. But I want that feeling that I get when I downhill ski or mountain bike or shifter cart, where other people, yoga, meditation, they get that same singularly focused, you get out and you're just like, oh, I needed that.
That's why the focus required to drive cars is probably why a lot of these kids are just like driving their cars off Angeles Crest. Because like you get in a G87 M2 and you're like, I don't need to do shit. And then you're just doing 100 on a decreasing radius corner and you're like,
and you just exactly. So like the level of respect that you have to have for a vehicle that can bite you.
Yeah.
That element that's numb in these newer cars. Like it is unbelievable how quick they can go, but you still have the laws of physics again. I don't care what kind of traction control, you still have lateral acceleration versus 1G
And the minute you break traction, physics takes over.
Physics
and
are
it doesn't matter anymore how well the car was handling until the moment it does.
Right. Yeah. Like when I spun the car, it's the same thing. It's like there's no TC or ABS or vectoring that could save you. I left the limits of physics, right? Yeah. And I was like, now I'm along for the ride like a lawn dart heading toward the wall. Yeah. But
and again, this might just be because of my age now, because I have a kid. But like, I am so much more attracted to a slow car fast than a fast car slow.
Just admit
100%.
it. Admit it. We are getting older. We are appreciating things a little differently now. But we're not going for those accolades that we went and ran.
But I also wouldn't want to drive a new car slow because it's just not exciting.
Yeah, but you don't feel like you're driving a new car fast until it's way too late.
Oh, I know.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
You won't get that
You
feeling.
guys take out my Audi 200 Avant on snow tires by the farm. It's terrifying. Car slides all four wheels into most corners.
And guess what?
And you're doing like 30 miles an hour. And guess what? If you fuck up, you barely go off.
Right. But guess what? I promise you one thing. You're only thinking about that. You're not thinking about like, you are focused. You're
focused.
There you go.
As to what everything's doing.
That's the idea.
And you're sawing the wheel.
To me, that's what makes a car cool. Not how fast it is, not the lap times, but that connection that you can get with it where all of a sudden when you get back out of it, you're like, oh, I actually didn't think about anything, especially an ADD mind like you and me. And like Vin's a lot more collected. But like, it's like it gives you that feeling of almost just like relief.
Yeah, I say all the time, it's my meditation.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
That's why I was offended by the Porsches aren't cool anymore thing, because I was like, Porsches are only not cool in a certain vertical, which is like
segmented in I bought this because I was A, in line for an appreciating asset, or B, I can go hang with other people who have Porsches who I think are cool, and that's obviously what they drive.
Yeah, and honestly, and if you just want to buy your way into a community, like I'm not even mad at that. I'm just more like
it's a cool community.
Also, admit it and don't tell me that Porsches aren't cool anymore because you got into the community. You don't really like half the people in there anyway. So.
I actually, because like James is a good friend of mine, so like I love giving my friend shit, but like I want to let him drive my GT3 and be like, tell me this is.
That's
cool.
a great episode.
Tell me this is.
That's
cool.
a great episode
because I know, but again, I know where he's
put him
coming.
in Evo
on track.
But again, I know where he's coming from. Is like James and I.
Did he preface that? I didn't watch that episode.
No, but I get what he's getting at, because it's like James and I enjoy cars differently, and I think that he is looking at it specifically from like an aesthetic and like optics situation, not like a experiential driving thing, which is fine.
I get it,
because I do agree on like that surface level,
and I get it. And I say this all the time. Like I grew up as like a kid in the punk rock scene. The minute a band got on the radio, you didn't like them anymore.
Yeah, but that's what happens,
right? Like Green
that's
Day
the
got
natural progression of success. Unfortunately,
like that's just what happens. You get bigger, you're bigger. Trust me, there are people who hated Hoonigan once Hoonigan got too big. I get it, and I respect it. I think with the Porsche thing right now,
it's such a paradox. Though,
well, no,
but
like it's weird because like I'll tell people like, oh yeah, like even just forget. I mean, this is a different conversation, but like people hate RWBs now. I don't care. I fucking love this car. I love how it looks. I love how it drives. I love everything it does. I've had people hit me up and say, oh, you're going to remove all the RWB stuff? And it's like, why? Because the internet made some memes about Nakai? Like, I don't care, man. Like, you're losing sleep over my car? Like, that's funny.
Yeah, guess what?
I still think RWs are irrelevant. I still think they're a huge, huge fixture in what created the culture that we're just sitting here talking about. So it's like, you can't hate on that no matter what.
Yeah, you know it'll be remembered.
Yep.
The good parts of it. You know what won't be remembered? The memes.
Yeah,
like,
true.
The time he got caught like mocking up a tow hook, like that was funny.
Yeah,
that was great internet brain rot. But like no one's gonna remember that in 15 years.
And apparently the story, because I reached out to them and was just like, hey man, just so you guys know, it's like kind of like you guys should respond to this and whatever. And it's like they were doing it for the photo shoot. The guy had an air tank.
That's I know, yeah,
in the front of the car, so they couldn't actually mount it. And then they kind of glued it on as a joke, and they filmed it gluing on as a joke, but it didn't translate.
But it didn't translate. No, because there's 75 people watching you do it, so like you can't.
Yeah. And you have the energy of the internet wanting to just shit on you for something, and they're like that.
Yeah.
See what happened?
Look, I'll say this: the fact that you put air on a 911 is a problem to me.
Okay,
like,
and that's a whole
that
other.
doesn't belong on there. It's a different audience, but whatever.
But also, it's like, and I'm sure you deal with it with like clients and like who's actually going to spend money. But it's like, people make fun of RWB for doing that glued on tow hook thing, but then you're like, none of y'all motherfuckers are buying one, because the guys who are like, I know a couple of guys who have built them recently. They're still buying them. They're not like worried about it.
No. They live in the price bracket they live in. Memes don't go to their house.
Yeah, exactly.
Memes
they get stuck at the bottom of the hill.
They get lower class people.
Yeah. They get filtered out over at my house.
Yeah. Memes are different. They don't get past those.
But if you have air on a air cooled 911, glue your tow hook on. You're not going to the track.
Yeah. I mean, if you have air on any 911,
just glue your tow hook on. You're fine.
Yeah.
Or you put rain light on a car and you live in Southern California. That to me, it's also good on.
I'm so happy I didn't finish doing that on the 360.
I'm sorry.
I thought about it though.
You put a rain light, the FIA rain light on
the brake light.
Yeah, the brake light thing. Yeah, you do that on a car and you live in Southern California, like, okay, half of the track days get canceled when it rains anyway.
See, I'm a little bit of a loser because I'm like, it looks cool.
It looks
sometimes.
cool.
But that's just me.
It's all right. I'll be
So
a
it's a
little
different vertical. It's a different vertical.
Do they make them for the 360? I want one too.
Dude, it's got the perfect spot in the rear diffuser for it.
See, we're just
I love it.
Risotto brothers over here.
Damn.
Risotto. I know that you have a heart out.
I gotta go
because you gotta go pick up your kids. So I'm gonna ask you a couple quick questions.
Hit me.
So, Type 99 Evo. We talked about this is you trying to take all the best parts of all Porsches you've driven over the whole gamut of the existence of the 911,
right,
and stick it into one car.
Right.
What to you is the best driver's 911?
We just built it.
Well, not a modified one. Like if you had like off the showroom floor.
Oh,
what would be?
997.1 GT3 RS.
Okay.
That to me was the most fun I had in a stock car ever.
And then of the air cooled generation, what would be the top for you?
I would have to say a 930.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Because it just, look, you're not going for all out speed in any G body car, but it gives you this feeling like I'm in a fucking 911.
Yeah.
It's making the noises. You've read about like the turbo car. It is just so much fun to lean into one on a stock 930 and they get on the throttle and feel like trying to fight for like.
I've never driven one, but I want to so bad.
And there's something so special about that.
Well, my car, not anymore, but originally was basically a 930 with revised rear suspension.
Right.
Because it's the still 930 engine setup before they went to the 3.6, right? Yeah.
Yeah, still the MFI engine and all that stuff. But yeah, it's a banana arm car. And then on your car particularly, they had the wider rear link, so it actually had a lot more rear stability.
And it still stepped out on me.
It's still, you still almost wiped out. But yeah, that's, to me, I think the 930 and the 997.1 GT3 RS.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah. All right, Betim. Well, thanks for stopping by. Unless you have any other questions for me, you got any last things? Because I'm going to keep Vinny here for like another 3 hours. We're going to keep going.
I thought you were my ride.
No, I saw y'all drive two separate cars.
Well, why don't we see how a 1 hour and 9 minute pod does?
No, it's not. Trust me, all the hate will go right towards you. These guys are in for the long run.
They could hate on me. It's fine.
No,
all right, boys, I got to go.
All right, bye.
Peace and love.
See ya.
What the fuck are we going to talk about?
Oh, hey, this is a good time for me to remind you guys that if you like what you're hearing, there's more of it on Patreon. For example, I could read you articles from 0 to 60 that I wrote. I don't actually have to do that. I wasn't planning on it. But the cool thing about Patreon is I can do kind of whatever you guys want because on Patreon, you're the boss. Go subscribe. So ready to get into the conversation.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm like,
I know.
Trying to jump in first.
I
It's
know.
like hard. I feel like I got the
It's like we're waiting.
I got the trans brake on trying to jump in front of Brian. Let's get.
And...
Yo, the two overtalkers, Brian dedicated some time to being on my YouTube channel as part of our deal. And I kept him for too long. So now this podcast is going to go till tomorrow.
That's right. Here we go. Okay, I want to get back to the core of this, which is, and like, I want to be careful because like, I'm not trying to gatekeep. Like, people want to come spend $100,000 on a 911 and belong to whatever. That's cool. I think the thing that worries me, and it's the same thing that worried me in any of the hobbies or things I did, was the minute it, and I feel about this way just in car culture in general, but like we can be specific on 911s. I was really into snowboarding. Snowboarding got really big. It was really cool to watch snowboarding get big. It went to the Olympics. All the mountains let us ride there. There was all this plus side to it. And then all of a sudden, like, snowboarding died. And like you watch like everything kind of drained out from it, right? And obviously people who were riding in the sport lost sponsorship, right? Like all of a sudden, like the whole industry shrinks. I've seen it in the automotive space multiple times.
Damn, you think the automotive industry is going to shrink? Because right now it's like
so.
hotter than ever.
I think it's going to shrink.
Yeah. With a lot of phones.
Because I've been through it
like,
once before. Like the Pimp My Ride era, it was massive. There was so much money in automotive. Everybody was spending in automotive. And not just automotive, but like non-endemic, which created all these jobs and it created all this industry. And it created a lot of like fake sense of security for people. And then it rippled.
Because I think people are jumping into automotive because it's cool.
Yeah,
and
which is awesome.
Obviously, everyone who's trying to fucking cloud up is starting businesses and ways to generate revenue. And I think that second that shit doesn't work out, they're going to be like a mass exodus. So they're just going to be like, I'm out.
So I think like the way, and this is what, always worries me. So I back in the day, I always used to say this, like one of my most important goals at Hoonigan was to bring younger audiences into cars. Because like when we started Hoonigan, cars were not, like young kids weren't getting their licenses. Like,
I remember the whole campaign, the deck, everything.
Yeah, right. And it was like it was a thing, and it wasn't just a thing that we put in a deck. It was like I really believed it. I wanted to see more kids find the same hobbies that we did, because I love cars and I love car culture, and it's the reason that all of us are friends, and it's great. The scary thing is that when it gets too big, it's like a tidal wave. Like it pulls all the way out. Like as big as the wave is coming in, like you get this like retraction. And the retraction part is what scares me, where the 911 community gets huge. And Luft, all these things are amazing. I've said this hands down. I think Luft Cult changed what the concept of a car show should be.
Totally.
I think that Pat and like that whole crew, they did a fantastic job with it. I always enjoy going. They're highly curated. It inspired a bit of what we did with Treff Punk. I just think they do a fantastic job at it. And it's during this, and I think that one, it couldn't have happened if Porsches didn't peak the way they did. But I also think that they're part of what helps it peak, right? Because they gave a place for all of this. And I think my fear is that I don't think I could think of any single mark that felt as big as Porsches feel right now.
No.
And it's like, what happens if the floor falls out on that? And like, what does that look like for, Porsche tuners, all the cool parts? Because without question, everything that's happened with Porsches right now has been good for Porsche owners. One, the value of your car has gone up. But even if you didn't want the value of your car to go up, like me, because I have no intention of selling it, like the accessibility to parts, to aftermarket stuff, like to all this like really cool bespoke stuff that people make, like, all these things have come out in the marketplace now because of it. That's really cool, but like, does a lot of that fall away? And then you just get to this world where like, I want to be careful, because I don't want to be like, I'm so punk rock once other people like Porsches, I didn't like them.
Right.
I still love my Porsche.
Yeah.
It doesn't change anything about the way I feel about my car. It does make me feel a little bit different about other people's cars, though, because you're like, I've just seen this a lot. It feels saturated. It's kind of like the same thing.
I actually don't have any feeling about the Porsche scene. Like, I don't care. I don't care how many people are into it. I don't care anything. Like, it doesn't affect me at all. I think the only topic I was really thinking about was like, saying they're no longer cool is kind of crazy to me.
By the way, we've called James out for this, and I don't want to single him out. A lot of people are saying
no, this is like,
it's like become the new thing is to be like, oh, Porsches aren't cool. And it's like, no, Porsches are hyper cool. Like as a driver's car, like they are fantastic vehicles.
Yeah, and that's why I guess I really don't care, because you enjoy things the way you enjoy them. So for me, like, I go to cars, coffee, meet and stuff, but like, you just like, you use your car for what it is. Like, I don't know if I give a shit that, Deus is flooded with 911 E's and, all these guys driving Targas that don't care about them. Like, it doesn't affect me. I'm just like, I think it's kind of corny, but I'm like, you do you.
Yeah.
But
like, to me, I think there's a part of it where there was this surge of like, I'm going to buy any 911 I can. I don't care what it is. I just want to belong, and I want to own a 911. And it's like, it's a Targa, or it's a worse, a Vert. Like, honestly, like, just pause for a second.
I actually,
why build 911 convertibles?
A subscriber just hit me up, and I was so excited, because I had just mentioned that I was like going to start a dealership and I want to like sell cars. And I'll say something about that in a sec, but he offered me a car, and he's like, I have a 89 930. And I was like, I thought 89 was 964, but maybe not 930.
No, so late 89 became 964.
Yeah. So I was like, wow, yes, I want this. And he was like, all right, got good and bad. What do you want to know first? I was like, give me the good. He's like, car is great, G50, blah, blah. What's the bad? He's like, it's a cab. I was like, not interested.
Yeah.
Damn it. I was like, dude, the fact, like, finding an off-market 930 is like incredible, but a cab, I just couldn't do it.
I said we were going to stay focused, but I just want to have the convertible conversation, because 10 years ago, I hated all convertibles unless it was a suicide door Lincoln, or like a vintage drop, right? Like big body.
Yeah.
I've slowly find myself wanting a convertible again.
Yeah.
But I can't cross the line with a 911.
I hate
because we talked about like a 964
911
convertible. 911 convertibles are just a weird shape to me. So are Beetles, by the way.
You know what's also a really bad convertible? The 350 and 370Z. The Nissan Juke or whatever. Like, there's just...
I mean, what's good about the Juke?
Yeah, I don't know. But it's just the same awkwardness where you're like, this doesn't look good with no roof. You know what's a good-looking convertible? E30, E36, E46.
Saab 93.
Saab 93.
Hard convertible. Cabby. The VW Cabby. All right, maybe I stand alone there. But we were like, we were going well for there. We were there for a second.
Does Audi make any convertibles? TT doesn't count.
The TT is a convertible. They do make
like
it.
A speed.
Yeah, because it feels more like the Roadster vibe.
Like a Roadster, yeah.
You know, all right, so this is a complete tangent, but B6 S4 cabs.
Oh, sick. We went to H2O when it was tight.
Are actually really affordable right now. Like I've been thinking about buying one as a daily because it's kind of dope.
So I don't hate all convertibles. Yeah. Mercedes, the king of cool convertibles.
Mercedes crushes the convertible
Come on.
market.
I mean, Mercedes.
No, it's true. SL convertibles are fresh.
All
the way back from the 60s.
911 convertibles, can't do it.
Just doesn't work.
Just doesn't work for me.
Is that because they stylistically don't look cool or just that the car needs to be a hardtop?
Everything. Yeah. I don't know. There's something about it. Like makes me mad. Like I just want to punch him when I see him. Just like, I hate you. I don't know what it is about your face. Just change it.
No, I get it.
You know, you're just like, oh, so bad.
It's like you know what it is about the 911 cab to me? It's like someone who has a ton of like God-given talent that they don't use. You're like
us in sports,
yeah, like me,
playing something
like a 6'8" man who could have played ball.
Instead, you got into
for the
sports
Knickerbockers,
cars.
But instead, I got into things that were meant for short people, like snowboarding, BMX, and sports cars. Exactly, that's the kind of frustration I have.
You know, today is a big mental clarity day. I think you also have a 2x4 that holds up lights. That's incredible.
Yeah, they don't see that on camera. We don't talk about that.
It's a good move. That's it. Honestly, this guy's one day on the Patreon. Brian's going to show you through.
I'll show you my 2x4.
Incredible. I think today made me realize the reason why I hate 911 cabs is because to me, you buy a 911 because they're like a sports car. But like if you buy a 911 cab, are you sports carring it? You're probably not sports carring it.
No, you're not sports carring it.
So then just get a cooler,
car to cruise.
Convertible.
Yeah, because it's actually, honestly, a 911 is not a fun car to cruise. It doesn't cruise well.
Get a convertible that you could put people in the back.
Yeah, like a Saab 93.
Yeah, or a Mercedes SL.
The one good use for cabs is to give them to TJ Russell so he can make Baja 911s from them.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool.
Yeah, or sell them to like Singer and they could put roofs on them and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm into that. I thought about buying.
We should start a campaign to like you know, it's like help put a roof over your cabbie. You know, it's like we run the whole thing like it's a homeless campaign, but it's really just like let's put roofs back on cabbies.
I thought about seeing if that cab was cheap enough that I could put a roof on it. But then I was like, 911 people are a little finicky on because like the turbo is like a collector. So like, I don't know if anyone's going to buy it, but I was like, that would have been fun.
Yeah.
Project.
I think you can put the Targa on it a lot easier.
Probably. Yeah. But I was like, I don't care.
I judged the Porsche Classic event and someone found, I think it was a Cabby. No, I think it was a Targa, and then they converted it to a Cabby, and then they converted back to a Targa. And like the painstaking steps they did just to get the car back to like what the window sticker said was kind of incredible.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like I really I'm not that kind of person on the purist level. It's equivalent of like my wife did to the house. But it was kind of cool to see the amount of work that they went into like restoring the car, because when they looked at the paperwork, they realized it was like a 1 of 7.
Yeah.
And I'm not oh my God, it's a 1 of 7. But you know, I respect people who want to.
But I mean,
stuff.
You know, again, being a full blown fucking loser, follow the car market and stuff. Like you could easily put this 964 turbo back to factory and sell it for $500,000,
which is wild.
Because
it was a white on red car,
and
it was dealership and deal spec.
You could put it back to stock and sell it for a ton of money, because like the rare car world is kind of crazy. So like big money cars that were preserved will always like be, you know, 10x. Because I just sold my GT3 RS, so I've been watching the market, you know, because I want to see like what other ones are going for, seeing if I made a mistake. And there's one right now selling on Bring a Trailer for a tremendous amount of money, and it's a GMG car also. Mine was 19, this one's 23, and it used to be 2 years ago, a year ago, if a car came up and it was modified and put back to stock, bro, people came out with the pitchforks and like tanked the sale because they're like, you're not pulling one over on us who want collector grade cars. This thing had a sequential shifter. It had every arm replaced, every suspension. It had stop techs. It had JRZs, everything. Now it's dolled up, all stock, carbon ceramics back on it, stock suspension, everything. And it's selling for a tremendous amount of money. And people don't even give a shit that it has been put back to stock now.
But that's because all the original ones are gone. And I watched that happen in the air-cooled community where at first it was the turbos that got expensive. And then it was the C2s.
Yeah.
And then it was like the track cars converted back. And then it was the C4s. And then it was the Targas. Yeah. And then even the cabbies went up in price. I mean, I never thought a 964 cabbie was going to be worth more than 20 grand.
And I didn't buy my 997, the new one, to sell it. But I'm like, I probably could put this back to stock and leave the 4-liter in it and get a tremendous amount of money and let people, I make YouTube videos, like I'm not hiding anything, but I guarantee I could show everything, putting the car back to stock and still sell it for
because the market demands it.
Yeah, it's not like get another one.
Go find another one.
Yeah, there's 2 listed for sale. Have fun.
Yeah, but then you'd be without a 911.
Yeah, which I can't be.
Like if you had to choose right now between a Ferrari and a 911.
911. Well, this is so fucking lame. For the internet, the Ferrari crushes.
Yeah.
So
because this is what we said in that episode. The Ferrari is a special car.
Yeah, internet me needs the 360. If I were just like, if I deleted my internet and I was like, I get one fun car to drive, it's going to be the 911 all day. 100%. I love the 360, but if I only could have one and I didn't care about anything else, GT3 for sure.
When I spend like a day driving the 911, like I get home and like I begrudgingly pull it into the garage because I want to stay out in the car. Like it is an experience that none of my other cars have. I don't know. It just is. And not that I don't love the Ferrari. The Ferrari is super special, but I'm happy to take it in like 1 hour long dosages where the 911 like is just.
Jolly and I got back and we were fucking jazzed. We were looking at rollers and I was like, this is so cool. Like having those 2 cars out, it was like incredible. I was so pumped.
I'm not saying it wasn't cool. I'm saying like we didn't go run canyons. We like just cruised around industrial areas.
Driving around in Long Beach area of California, anytime I get home, I'm like, I'm so thankful to not be in a car.
Dude, there was one moment where we were like, you had already gotten over to the left lane and I was behind you and then you went over and I realized that there was just like an opening in the earth that went all the way down to hell.
Oh yeah.
Like, it was just like a 10-foot hole that I had to, and I got like one tire stuck in it because I couldn't move over.
Sometimes I watch these car YouTubers in the UK and they make like car videos and they're just out in like Wales driving and it's like quiet and beautiful. And then I think about the day we were driving around fucking Wilmington and it's just like, if there's not a homeless guy yelling, it's a fucking 18-wheeler with its rear axle locked up driving by.
Did you see that next to me?
Yeah, like you're just like, what is going on?
I was like, this is going to be the moment I lose my car. It was just the whole back of the trailer was just bouncing next to me.
I was like, what goes on here? You can't get a single moment of silence. It's like insane.
Yeah. But anyway, I don't know. Back to the Porsche thing. It's a weird place to be because it's like, just like as I'm now older. Did you like Green Day when you were a kid?
No.
Because they were just like too poppy, or because they were on the radio?
I think by the time
you were a lot younger than me. You're almost 10 years younger than me.
Yeah, I'm almost 10 years younger than you. So by the time
37?
37.
Yes, you're 9
So by the time like I learned about it, it probably just felt like another radio band to me.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't get the cool experience. It was just like a band I listened to on K-Rock.
For me in that era, I was like super dialed in. I mean, literally, like my lifestyle was hanging out at punk rock bars and hanging out with punk bands and all of that, and like, doing all that stuff. And it was like, if you didn't hate Green Day, you weren't welcome in that space.
Yeah.
And like, I now listen to Green Day and Blink-182. I didn't listen to any of it when I was younger because it was like, I was just like, oh, it's not cool. Too many people listen to it. But like, I don't know, like the Dookie album's like pretty good, and like, and like as you get older, and now it's like I respect that those guys like did their thing.
Yeah.
Kind of bummed that NoFX never made any money because they never sold out or whatever. But as you get older, you're like, yeah, you kind of like see it from a different perspective. And I bring that up because I think what we're talking about today verges on the like, yeah, Porsches were cool when I was into them, but now that everybody else is into them, I don't think they're cool anymore. I'm not saying that. I still think Porsches are really cool. I don't think Porsches will ever stop being cool. I think Porsches were just as cool in 1988 as they'll be in 2028.
Yeah.
But there's a trend that like made them like hype. And like the hype thing is different than the cool thing.
Totally. But I think we'll see like the hype train. We've seen hype come and go at a ton of different things that we're into. So I don't know. I feel like it's been pretty evergreen though. Like the Porsche hype has been up for 10 years. Like usually
10 years plus.
Now I wonder if that's because for most people buying a car is such a big purchase that like once you're in, you're kind of in and you're like, I'm not going to just sell this thing.
Oh, I think Porsche ownership right now is like Los Angeles real estate. Like you're afraid to sell because you know you can't buy back in again.
Totally. Yeah. Especially if you've been into it. Like if you got on kind of the early kick when you bought a car and Luft was just getting it started.
Or me when I bought this at 30 grand and it's 10x or 35 grand.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I bought my GT3s for half of what they're worth. Like it's insane, you know? And I'm like, I'm one of the guys. I bought a car, I sold it. And now I'm like, I kind of want one. I could afford to buy it again, but like I won't, you know, I still have the money. I could just go out and buy it, but I'm like, I don't want to.
That's why, like, because you used to give me so much shit for not selling this, and they were worth even less back then.
Yeah,
but you used to be like, dude, that is the biggest come up. Like
that's the craziest thing ever. Yeah, to buy a car for 35 grand and have it be worth $300,000 is like, fuck, man, that's insane.
And the problem is like if right now you were like, here's $300,000 in cash, and I handed you the title, I couldn't hand you that money to buy the car back.
Yeah,
because like. But for right now, like even though it's worth that in my head, it's like it's on paper. It's not like real life, right?
Until you
like,
cash out.
Once that money's in your bank account, you're like I could never trade that for this again.
I guess my thing with you is I never understand you. You're an enigma. You're an enigma of a person to me because you are. Rywire and I talked about the GT3 RS sale, and I was like, you enjoy cars by having them and collecting them and owning them, and like that's. Like, and I get it. You go to his shop and they're all under like clear covers. And,
Yeah.
You know?
Right. He's a collector.
You're kind of a collector too, but you don't take care of anything. Like you're
a hoarder.
You're like, I love this car so much. It's like disrespectfully dirty. I want to fight you because of how dirty this car is. I'm like, can I clean this? I'm almost about to get you this pod is going to get sponsored by G-Technic, and they're not even going to pay you. They're just going to have DBG come here and wash your cars once a week.
I would take that sponsorship. No money, just keep the cars clean.
Just pay Gustavo to come wash the cars once a month for the love of Christ.
That's the deal, just so Vinny can sleep at night. Vinny's sitting there going, I don't even like the S8, but he put a car cover on it without cleaning it.
Oh, God.
And it's black.
Fresh paint.
Yeah.
So you're just different. You're a special boy.
Yeah. Like the last thing I would want is like a Jay Leno situation where like all my cars are just like on display.
I mean, insane.
Like that's not what I want them for. But for me, I just think that my timeline is a lot longer than everyone else's.
Totally.
Like
and I realize
like
that.
It doesn't matter if it takes 25 years for me to get the Audi Coupe Quattro finished. And by the way, that sounds like a crazy amount of time. It's already been 22 years. So I got 3 years left.
No, it's crazy because the first time I went to your other property and you were talking about building a barn with like a second story and whatever. And you were like, you said like super casually, you're like, yeah, I mean, it's probably 15 years out. I was like, oh my God, Scotto is so different from me because to me, I think about projects that I need to do like next month. And I'd be like, I need to get that done now. Like, I'm so impatient to a fault in a lot of ways. Like,
you said this once to me at like Hoonigan, you said those first 2 years you would drag us into these meetings and you would come up with these ideas. And I just sat there saying, these are never going to happen because 2 years went by and none of them happened. And then they all happened. And it's like, I think that's just the difference is like it's probably like a bit of it. I don't mean to put everything on ADHD, but like there's this big joke in ADHD, which is like, for ADHD people, time is only in two variables. One is now and not now.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm either working on it now or not now. And not now could be like 5 years down the line.
Yeah, I guess and this is totally tangential.
Think about most of Daily Transmission and Scumbag Labs and all those ideas were ideas that we had on the table for years.
But I think, because I think about things very practically with like what I can accomplish now or what I'm capable of now.
Yeah.
Whereas like you were thinking about stuff at Hoonigan that wasn't possible with the team we had. And then we like, in some ways felt like we didn't plan for it. And then we were like, oh, fuck, now we can do it. And then we did it. I don't know if that was like fully the plan because I was a Grom when I started there. So like, who knows? Yeah. But, you know, like you think in a different, like in a different world, I think like right in front of me.
Right. Like I have projects that require me to become a master fabricator before I can finish them. So anyway, I don't know. I just look at projects differently.
Yeah, I respect it. I start to realize it, and I'm like, oh wow, like I think as I get older, I'm just better at like understanding how people function, and I'm like, wow, we're all so fucking different. And like when you understand kind of what makes people tick and like how they think, it's interesting. And that's why I always say to you, I'm like, I don't know, I don't really fucking understand you. Like, yeah,
I had this thought the other day because you'll say things to me and like in the moment I'll kind of laugh them off, and then I'll like lay in bed being like, that's weird. Maybe I should like talk to someone about that.
Because I'm like your practical friend that says it.
Yeah, because like I've said this, 2026 is the year that I get my car collection, under control. And like under control for me might be different than under control for you.
Yeah.
But like I think I actually realized something, that like growing up as a kid who, I'm not going to say we were poor, because like a lot of people were more poor, but like we didn't have a lot, right? And it's like that, I think when you do get stuff, you hold on to it like dearly. Right? Because you're like, I like if you got a good deal on something, like my BMX bike, like I had a cool BMX bike, but like almost all the parts were bought secondhand.
Yeah, same.
Got my Peregrine wheels, in a trade, like got my 3-piece cranks in a trade, like, and then once you got them, you're like, this, I never will let go of this, because like I could have never bought it at full price.
Yeah.
And you joke with me all the time because you're always like, you act like you're still poor. Right?
Yeah.
But to me, there's a bit of that with the car collection, which is like, I would never sell my 911 because I'm just too cheap to buy another one.
Yeah, same.
But you just sold yours.
Yeah, but for a business reason. And I think like, we had talked about my dealership and how to do it with content. I think like the red thread for like long-term viewership is my fucking goal is to get it F40. Like I've had it in my bio forever that it's paperclip to F40, and the goal of the dealership.
What does an F40 cost today?
$2 million. That's
insane.
I'm not going to buy one for me. Like I'm not going to buy an F40 and drive it. But my goal for the dealership will be to transact an F40.
That's
meaning,
cool.
Like I work my way up to earning enough money where I can buy an F40, make 2 fucking videos on it, and drive it
and then
a couple times, and then sell it. Like, because I don't want to own a $2 million F40. But
this makes me nervous.
If my goal was to be like, I'm going to build up my business so I can transact them, like that would be sick. And I think that will be fun for me as like my North Star. Because then I'll never feel like, oh, I got rid of this car that, I'm bummed about missing. It'll be like, no, I'm trying for the top, because that was always the joke. My bio has always been paperclip to F40. And I'm like,
the F40 just seems so outside.
It's so nowhere near reality.
Yeah. I mean, all of those cars, Carrera GT, like they all just feel just so removed.
But my thing,
I remember when that car was $400,000.
And like I said earlier, though, it's like a lot of times, like I look at the price of cars differently because I look at like inverse out. So it's like, to me, if you're like, I'm going to spend, $200,000 and buy a XYZ, but I know I'm going to sell it for $200,000, not even making profit. Like if you're just like, I can use it and I could sell it for about what I paid, like it's not really like a big drop.
Yeah.
So if I'm like doing a business and I'm buying and selling cars, like buying a $2 million car might not matter if you're going to sell it for 10% is what brokers make. So if you buy a $2 million car and you sell it for $2.2 million, you're like, bro, you made $200,000.
Yeah, it's sick.
Like
sick.
It's insane.
Are you, did your parents, like buy, when I say buy and sell, do they swap out cars often? Your dad worked at a dealer.
My dad still works at the same dealership.
That's wild.
Crazy.
That's such a Long Island thing.
Yeah. My mom had like 3 cars our whole life.
Yeah.
She didn't go through cars, but my dad used to get demo cars every 6 months or every 6 weeks or something.
I asked because my parents never would buy used cars. They would buy brand new cars. And then at some point, a tow truck would take them off our property.
Oh, my dad.
Like my dad would literally drive a car until it just wouldn't drive anymore and nobody would buy it.
That's how my dad is though. So my dad gets new cars from the dealership as like demos.
Yeah.
Constantly. Now he gets used ones, but like he used to get new ones when I was a kid. But every car he's ever had, like my mom's cars, used until nothing.
Yeah.
Like they have a E46 ZHP convertible.
I know. I've been in it.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And he bought that car for like $4,500. It had an OEM hardtop. They sold it, so he's into it for like nothing. And it's a kind of nice car.
Yeah, yeah.
But like it's on the path.
That's another acceptable convertible.
Good looking convertible. That's a car that in like 3 years, he's just going to sell it for like a pizza. Because it's going to be like every bushing will be blown out. The transmission won't work. All the seats will be ripped. The steering wheel will have fucking holes in it. And it'll just be like smoked. And you'll just be like, well, the kid down the block said he'll buy it. Like that's where it'll go.
The only car that my parents ever sold that they didn't have to pay a junk company to come get it and tow it off the property is my mom's Z,
which got totaled
because we bought it off of them and I forced my parents to sell it to me. Like that's it. Actually, it's not totaled. The guy, they fixed it. It now has like, what's the later engine, whatever came in the G30.
Didn't your mom get in like a horrifically bad accident with that?
That was her second Z.
Oh, okay.
So she missed the Z so much that she went and bought a low mileage 40,000 mile cream puff Z then got T-boned in it. I mean, it was horrible.
Yeah.
I mean,
Jeff Stoneback bought the other one.
Hurt bought the other one and never paid me for it. And never paid my parents for it, and then gave it to Jeff Stoneback. And then I had to go chase Jeff Stoneback down for it. And then Jeff had never paid us for it. And then Jeff had sold it to someone else. And then finally Jeff paid my parents for it.
I love that. That's
so
incredible.
My parents finally got paid for it. But when we were at E-Town for Drifter, my parents were there, and someone came up to us and was like, "My buddy has your car," to my mom. And was like, "Yeah, he's got it now, and it's got, I guess, the VK37 because they put a G37 engine in it." Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So thing lives on. Still crushing. Still a drift car.
That's incredible.
In the Club Loose Boys. But yeah,
I love it.
So, but I bring that up because I think when I look at cars, I like the concept of selling them just doesn't exist. I never think like, oh, I could get my money back out of them. I mean, I tell Ashley that, so like she justifies it, but like in my heart of hearts, I'm not going, oh yeah, I'm going to sell this one day and make money.
Yeah,
that being
I
said,
don't know.
I only have lost money on daily drivers.
I think
every other car I've made money back on.
Yeah, I think it was just because for me, I like made such shit money my entire life until the last 10 years or so, maybe less, 5, 6, 7, I don't know. But I was always like punching above my weight class with cars. Like I worked at SK Speed making $8.25 an hour, and I had a 05 STI. That shit was cool.
Yeah,
and so because it was always like I would just like trade my way up and stuff. So I think that just like stuck with me in that if you want to continue to have cool stuff, like you got to get rid of shit. Like you got to get to a point and then like cut it off and move on.
Yeah, I think I went to, for me, I got this car at such a good deal, and I didn't know they were going to explode. I didn't know that the entire 911 market was going to shift and it was going to become like this icon of cool. But now, like, I love it so much, but I would never be able to spend what it's worth to buy it now. And it's actually ruined the car for me because I would drive it way more. I would drive it way more, but it's now so irreplaceable because of what it would cost.
But see, this is what I
have it insured.
I always counter argue that because your car is the perfect car to drive and enjoy. If you have it properly insured, this car can get ran over by a fucking dump truck and then you could rebuild it and it doesn't matter because it's already had the roof cut off. It's already been fully repainted. All the panels have been cut. Nothing is original. So like you're not saving it from anything.
Right. Like the person who wants this car doesn't care.
Yeah, or you like
I don't care.
The originality is gone because some of the guys, like I always said, I don't really like, and why I kind of hated my GT3 RS in some ways is because it's like pure, like
Got it.
if someone crashes into it, now it's like now your whole side of the car's repainted. It's a whole thing. Like this is already fucked with. Like you should drive.
Mine's
this
already
thing
been molested.
Like it doesn't matter.
It's already got
that
childhood
should
trauma.
Be freedom. Like my 360, I just got it repainted. dude, I was following you on the freeway for the shot, and I was like 1 inch off your bumper, and I'm like, I don't give a fuck about this paint job. I don't care about anything. Like, it's all aftermarket. If it gets repainted again, like, who cares?
Yeah.
So, like, I think that there's a lot of freedom in the RWB because that thing's so fucking cool. You should drive it every day.
I know.
It's so sick.
And insuring it's not fun.
No, yeah, insurance is expensive.
It's crazy what they ask for. So, I mean, look, and I realize these are like really nice problems to
But you know what?
about.
You're that guy. So we'll wait until 911s are no longer cool.
And then I'll drive
you'll
it
start
every
driving
day.
it.
It'll drop down. Like, shh, guys, I have great news.
Yeah.
My 911's only worth 40 grand. I'm going to street drive it and park it in front of my
it's
house
not even
every
because
day.
it's not even the value. It's just going to be, guys, guess what? 911s are fucking lame.
Yeah.
Like, universally known.
They are the
rappers
Pontiac.
are saying
They are
that
the
it's lame.
Pontiac Aztec.
And all of a
cars
sudden,
right
you're
now.
like, I love this car so much. You have it as your fucking your MySpace background, and like you have a shirt with it on it and stuff. Like, you'll be so into it once everyone else thinks it's lame.
fuck, I wish you were wrong. Yeah. Anyway,
On that note, I did bring a really special car here for your Patreon page.
we'll do a little walk around on it.
Do a little walk around.
So I wanted to ask you a question before, but I wanted to let Betim talk a little bit more. So your original 911, which was an SC,
yeah,
right? What year was that?
80.
An 80. Your Volkswagen Golf, which is a VR6, is faster than the SC.
Yeah,
What car is a better experience?
easy 911.
Even though it was slower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The GTI is weird to me. And I think about this all the time when I'm driving it. It's really cool for nostalgia, but it's not that good. And I don't know if it's like, honestly, just the interior ergonomics. Like, the seat sits high, the shifter's really low. Like, it's a little bizarre. Solid rear axle sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, just something about it. Like, I love the GTI. It's cool. That's a car I'll never sell because it's not really worth shit. But I don't know. The 911 felt more fun.
I only asked that because before you were just talking about how like the older 911s aren't fun, and a lot of the reason they're not fun is because they just have like no power. In
No,
there
see, I meant to say on that, like, I actually don't care about the power. I just felt like stock ones, they just felt like sloppy and boaty and like
right. Okay.
They just didn't feel like they didn't ooze personality. It just felt like a thing.
Yeah.
And mine was like in good shape too. But
I mean, like, I was like, you know, and I wonder if like we're now rounding to the end of this episode, and hopefully it makes sense to people. But like, I was trying to think while you guys are talking about like what are my 3 favorite things about the 911, not just Porsches, because like Porsches, like a 944 is a completely different experience. Like of 911s, is that I realize so much of it is ergonomic. So much of it is the driver position in the car.
yeah, I was gonna say like if I had to list out their 3 best things, it's like driver perspective and ergonomics, exterior aesthetics, and just driving experience. Like, I don't care who you are. Like, you can't say you don't like 911s because of the way they look at all. Like, you park a fucking 911 in your driveway and you just look at it, it's beautiful.
Yeah, they're pretty classic.
From a bullshit base model all the way up to the top. Like, they're sick.
Yep.
Yeah.
Even a 996 when you're looking at it from behind.
I love a 996
like
C2. Yeah, I'll take a 99 with drive-by-wire and a factory limited slip. I mean, drive-by-cable and factory limited slip all day.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. They're sick.
The turbos look really good.
Turbos are super nice.
Yeah, they look really good.
Yeah.
For me, it's the glass house. I mentioned this before. There's something about just how small the A-pillar is, especially in an air cooler.
Yeah.
Right? It just feels like it's not there. Right? I've never been in a car that feels as small inside, which makes it feel like a cockpit.
Yeah.
Right? Like, people joke about how small my Rabbit is. My Rabbit feels spacious. It's like being inside of a box.
Yeah.
This thing just feels like it's all about me and just that. I've never felt steering the way a 911 steers, right? And like, you want to call it turn in or whatever it is, but just like the way that grips under braking, like that just feels really unique. And the last one, which like is like, I think, like, look, they just drive great. Like there's a point and shoot element or point and squirt element to them of like, if you're okay with the car sliding a little bit, like you just kind of steer where you need to go, right? But the other part of it to me, like, is it may just be like a mental thing, but there's something about being like the engine feeling like it's pushing from behind. I can't explain it because the front gets light under acceleration.
Yeah, it's so cool.
In
so
a way that like a normal car doesn't. That like the term scoot like really applies to a 911. Like when people are like, oh, is your 911 fast? I'm like, it fucking scoots.
It does scoot.
It
like
scoots.
It puts the butt under.
Yeah. It's like it just like like it's a big thrust from behind, and it's like there.
It pushes power like a dog scraping its butt on grass.
Yeah.
You know?
It does, and it's something that just I don't know. It just makes it special.
I will say,
and obviously the shape.
Other thing that's really cool about Porsche, at least in the GT car world, I don't really care that much about like the base Carreras as we get newer because they just become like luxury cars. But in the GT car world, from 996 to 992, they didn't really get that fat. Like they got heavier because you got technology, but they're not really like an M2 or an M3. We could talk about M3 went from being 3,000 pounds to 4,500 pounds.
The current M3 is the size of my S8.
Yeah. Whereas like the 911 got big, but they still kept it pretty light. Like them and Subaru, because like the STI made 300 horsepower out of a 4-cylinder turbo from 04 till now or whenever they killed it. And then like the 911, the GT3 is like the same. It's like NA, flat six, barely gained weight over the years, like just got bigger. Like I respect that. That's cool that Porsche did that.
I'll admit, like I'm a little bit of a hater on how big the cars got.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like there's something about a small car footprint that makes it more fun on roads. But you take up less of the road.
Yes. My friend,
especially on canyons.
Nikita and I were like driving through canyons. We did a couple tight canyons. He had a 992 manual and he's like, dude, I can't even drive this car on this road. It's so big.
Yeah.
But if you get inside of it, you'll still feel like you're 964. Like it still feels like tight and intimate and like, but not in a claustrophobic way. It still feels like small and like proper on the inside. Yeah. It's just everything on the outside got like.
So let's end on this because I think we've talked about why we love 911s. We've kind of shit talked people who've got into them just for the trendiness of it. But I think we're generally kind. Why do you think 911s became so cool? Like, what do you think it is that attracts everybody else to?
I think it's the general coolness that we all looked at already. So it's from Magnus to Luft to RWB. Like, it's the trifecta of things being cool. And then people being... The thing is that it's based on undeniable cool.
But do you think this could have happened to any other mark?
No. That's what I was saying. Like, it's the base is undeniable cool. The 911 was cool. And then it was amplified into the mainstream. It's not like saying, the Scion FRS is now cool. It's like, well, that's only based on like if influencers tell you it's cool.
Right.
Which means nothing. But like the 911 had racing pedigree, it had everything. And then it was like brought to the mainstream attention of like, oh, this is actually sick. And it's beautiful, and it's fun to drive, and it looks good, So like, I feel like it's like the trickle down.
No, I just think it's an interesting thing of like, I don't know if any other mark could have become what Porsche has become in the past 15 years. And look, I'm not going to say that there hasn't always been a cool around Porsches. There was a hyper cool around Porsches in the 70s. But a lot of people don't realize that the reason the 944 came out is because in the 80s to the Wall Street crowd, the 911 felt old and was your dad's car. Like they already lost cool there.
Yeah.
And honestly, they didn't really gain it back, I think, until the Magnus Walker, Singer, RWB era.
Yeah.
Like, not saying that it wasn't cool. There's obviously a ton of motorsports history throughout the 90s. And I think to that core, like, motorsports fan who's listening to this, they're like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Porsche's always been peak, right?
Yeah.
But when you look at it from a cultural reference, like, yeah, you had Bad Boys. Like, Bad Boys made that was like 911 Turbo, really cool in that movie, right? The original one.
Yeah.
And there was other elements of it, but I think now it's like it's such a part of culture that it has like well transcended us.
Yeah.
Like it is well beyond us, and like every cool person, either has one or knows of one. You don't have to be a car guy to be into them. They're part of fashion. You and I are both into architecture. How often do you see a photo of a house and there's a vintage 911 in the driveway?
My SC just got a job. It was used for placement in an ad for this beautiful mid-century home in Pasadena.
Yeah. Like, I mean, and I think that those fit there because those cars, I think that's the aesthetic element of it.
Yeah.
Like if the 911 looked different, maybe it wouldn't land as well. If the 911 was the 944, I don't think people.
Which is funny because like it pairs with mid-century so well, but it's not mid-century at all.
No.
I mean, 60s.
No, it is the 60s. Yeah.
But I mean, like the cars they're using aren't all 60s 911Es or 912s or like
like long noses,
yeah,
like canary yellow.
So they'll be using like 80s cars like mine, and you're like,
but I think that's because
it
modernism
stayed the same.
is such a thing about minimalistic design, and the 911 is a minimalistic silhouette.
Yeah,
right.
that's
Like
true.
if you think about what makes like what was the Ferrari or the Lamborghini you were talking about earlier? Some crazy new Lambo. That's
thing.
Yeah, whatever, or some new McLaren or whatever. Like they are pushed to the extreme.
Yeah,
like they look absolutely
yeah.
extreme.
Even
like,
our 360s like look pretty crazy in comparison
Yeah.
to like a 911.
Yeah, the 911 just like simple silhouette. It's the Eames chair of cars. This is now like the third time I've Eames dropped on this show. People who know.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm like, by the way, I'm saying Eames because I want more people to understand. If you're sitting there going, that is so pedestrian of me, we only have one Eames chair in the house. The rest of them, you wouldn't know the design.
But they're
Scandinavian.
But that's the thing though, is like I think the 911 is like the Eames chair because honestly, Eames chair was really cool a couple years ago, and now you like see them in everyone's houses, even if they live in like a stucco box.
Right.
That's not.
They've got like a Spanish revival, and they have an Eames chair.
Yeah, and you're like, that doesn't make sense here, and
Yeah.
it's like that's why the 911 doesn't make sense in a lot of people's garages. It's like you don't fit the mold to have this, but you bought it because you know it's cool. That's the Eames chair.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
That's
it. The 911 is the Eames chair of the automotive community.
It took us about 2 hours. We've landed here. The 911 is the Eames chair. And do you know what that means?
This pod is over, baby.
The pod's over, but the Eames chair is still comfortable. The 911 is still a fantastic car, whether or not you think it is trending out. And if you'd like to listen to more about railcar, I'll talk about it on the podcast.
I support that statement.
The mailbox is full. The mailbox is full. The mailbox is full and cannot accept any messages at this time. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Hey, look, it's okay if you don't actually wrench on cars. You don't need to feel left out. You can still have Vyper Industrial in your life. For example, pick up a creeper, use it for covert naps. Got a problem with all the clothes on the floor? Their robust stool makes the perfect chair drobe. It's also really good for downhill racing. Got guests coming over tonight? Roll out the tool cart to serve up a decadent spread of charcuterie paired with a side of fine libations. Stressed out at work? Use the turbo fan for a little white noise guided Zen meditation. Or take your fancy sim rig to the next level, adding Mulsanne straight grade wind speeds direct to the face. Interested? Head on over to vyperindustrial.com. That's Viper with a Y, because why not? Of all the sunglass companies out there, you might ask, why Heatwave? Aside from them being friends of mine, they just make great shades. Awesome styles, cool collabs, smart tech. They even have extra large sizes for big heads like me. And for those of you wearing this on the job, they make ANSI Z87 Spec safety glasses too. But what really attracts me to Heatwave is that they are physically a part of our culture. You will find them everywhere, from King of the Hammers to Formula Drift. You'll see everyone wearing Heatwaves at your local track day event. Damn, you might even turn laps with the co-founder Justin, because they're one of us. So, one more reason to choose Heatwave Visual to fix your face. I'm a tool dork. My obsession might even dwarf my addiction to cars. I love collecting unique and specialty tools, which is how I initially fell in love with Wera. First off, they just make aesthetically pleasing tools. They feel good in your hand, they have a great finish, their sizes are universally color-coded, and they are super strong. In 2 decades, I've never broken a tool from Wera. I wish I could say the same about my other tools. But the thing I like the most about Wera is that they create clever solutions for your wrenching woes, because you need over-engineered tools to work on today's over-engineered cars. So if you're ready to step up your tool game, whether it's the Zyklop ratchet or the Joker wrenches, find them at weratools.com.